Hello and welcome to Spurs Kings TV. It's that time of the week. I'm your host, Marlon, but you all come for one person or one person only, and the guest, obviously. But Ash, are you well?
Yes, my bro, I'm very well, man. It's good to see you back as well. I know you had to rush off last week a bit earlier, we were busy. But yeah, big yourself up. The host of the most, Marlon, let's not forget that. Spurs Kings TV back in the building. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to all the people watching home at live or whenever you do watch it, guys. Big yourselves up once again, man. But let's get this show on the roll, man. Let's get this show on the roll.
Let's get the guest out because one of them's got his own show coming up straight after this. But first of all, let's welcome Jacob. Jacob, are you well?
Hello, good evening, gentlemen. I am too blessed to be stressed. It is a Tuesday, so we're making it through. Just starting out the week. Had a rough morning, honestly. If I'm on, it was a rough. I don't know why. I just randomly didn't feel good this morning, but now I feel great. Happy to be with you boys and ready to talk some Tottenham. And on the side note, I'm all Porto right now. So anyone watching this,
I think most people are.
Forza Porto right now. But thanks for having me, gentlemen.
No worries. And Jacob, for me tonight, if you can say one thing for me, one time before you go tonight, is talk to me nicely. Every time I hear that, it's like, yeah, love it.
It's gonna happen. You might hear it more than once, but it's always organic when it happens. I promise that.
And our next guest, Tyler, are you well?
Yes, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. You know what? As always, let's get straight into this. So the first thing I want to talk about, because it was such a great victory against Aston Villa, let's not take nothing away from it. It actually made everyone's weekend, right? Because as I said at the weekend, Arsenal went back top. Season ticket prices all happened within the week. There was a lot of things going on with Spurs, but this performance just overshadowed everything. Ash, is Ange Ball slowly coming back?
I quickly want to rewind a little piece if I can, because the mood going into the game was very subdued. Some fans were up for it. Some fans were nervous. Some fans were indifferent. And I just thought, looking back, I looked at it and I said, raw, I enjoyed the ball we played against Aston Villa without our full strength team. So I was just deep in it and I was thinking, raw, wait till our full team comes back together. I wonder what madness we can produce. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, I wanted to see machine for machine, and I think that's where most people were worried. Like, they're kind of attacking, we're attacking, and we thought it was just going to be a Mexican, standoff where we literally shoot how many goals can you score against how many scores we let in. Do you know what I mean? So I was hoping for not just the W, but I was hoping for a performance to go along with it. And guess what? I got both, man. I was so happy to see the boys turn up and produce on the actual day, because you know what? It was a massive top four clash and it could have gone either way. But the fact that we got the job done, we didn't bottle it. We actually stood up under the pressure. I was so happy, and I was happy for the boys, happy for the manager that it all finally came together. And also, they had their players. I can't even lie. They had McGinn, yeah. They had Louise. They had Watkins. They had Bailey. Diaby even came on. Saniolo even came on. You see what I'm trying to say? They had players. We've had our injuries. They've had a few injuries. I can't lie. In their back line, but they had a majority of their players, so they can hold that, broski. They can hold that. We got the W, man. Come on, you Spurs. Let's enjoy a little piece of life before we get back to normality.
Jacob, I'll bring you in on next as well, because I know you're probably quite positive about Spurs going into this game. When 4-0, did it flatter us a little bit, or was you kind of, this was all expected? Ange Ball just took over.
I think it's an amalgamation of everything, really. We're seeing teams know how to set up against us. Teams know they can sit back, catch us on the counter. That's their likely avenue of success. In the first 45 minutes, that's what Aston Villa did. And they were doing it quite well. 5 shots, albeit none on target, matching our no shots on target. And we had 1 shot in total. So when you look at the production of output from an offensive standpoint, it wasn't good enough in the first 45. But what I would argue in the sense of Ange Ball and where it says, we're not even operating on full cylinders right now. We're like a Ferrari that's just driving through a school zone right now. And sometimes it looks good, and sometimes you're like maybe that's just a waste. But in reality, I think it's just going to be one of those things that there's. I've always said the growing pains are going to be evident. We're going to lose matches in disgusting ways. But what I love is some of the things that Kulusevski has said today. They just every time the message from Ange Postecoglou comes out, it reiterates, it reaffirms, and it validates all the things that I say and feel and think about this club and where we're going. Because it doesn't matter. We have 9 men. We're going to play the way that we want to play. We know we're going to lose some of those, but the main thing is sticking to your principles and sticking true to who you are. And at the end of the day, if you can do that well enough and have enough good enough pieces around you, the sky is really the limit. And as far as uh, I wanted to address something that Ash said. He said Villa had their players. I don't know who you're talking about as far as on the right wing. Udogi had them right there in his front pocket, right? Sitting right there. And they're sitting right there. You know who else is sitting there with him? Got a Nacho. You know who else is sitting there? Name any winger that we've played. They're sitting right there in his pocket. Mohamed Salah is not excluded from this list either. I know he's a fantastic player, but guess where he's sitting? Right there in Destiny Udogi's pocket, the best left back in the league. I'm saying top 3 in the world. I can only think of 2 other left backs that I could consider better than. I know I'm going off the rails here for a second, but allow it. Can you name for me Alfonso Davies, maybe Theo Hernandez? I can't think of another one that's better than Destiny that you could say right now for sure. Concrete is a better left back than. I'm saying top 3 in the world. It's damn sure he's best in the league. And that's a for sure talk to me nicely every single time. When you mention his name, you better put some damn respect on it. Because that man, he's a grown ass man and he's just a little boy. Just a little boy. He come to America, he could barely get a beer. They said, "Oh, what month did you turn 21, sir?" But I'm digressing. But Leon Bailey, enjoy it. You've got good company in there with you. Moussa Diaby as well. You can enjoy it in that pocket as well. Van de Veen, what? Look, in regards to the match, I'm distracting myself with just thinking about the fact that we have the best left back in the league. I think there's a lot of reasons to be extremely happy and positive about what we saw. And to me, it was really strange at full time when people were saying, "Oh, Kulusevski had a bad match." And it's like, well, he was involved in 3 of those first 3 goals, and you're telling me he had a bad match. Oh, it was just 3 moments. Well, I'm sorry.
Free
Moments win you games, don't they? Moments get you goals. And if he did the moments that led to goals that ended up winning the match, to me, hey, all's well that ends well. And I just think I don't even remember your question, Marlon. That's very poor performance on my end, but I
It's
can get
Ange
lost
ball
in
back.
Oh, Ange ball never left. I'm gonna say it's like the Kraken under the sea. It's there. We all know it's there. It's just a matter of time till it pops out, veers its head, and then everyone runs in fear. Because I've been telling everyone, rivals, Spurs fans who are doubters, it's okay. But by the time for the Spurs fans, it's good news because by the time they see what's happening, it's going to be too late for the rest of the league. I stand by that because I knew it was going to be. We come out the gates firing. I said 3 to 10 matches. You give world class managers 3 to 10 matches to adapt to how you play. They can then know how to exploit your weaknesses and to stifle your strengths. Like that is a thing in all sports. It's not just exclusive to football. So to me it was obvious that this was going to happen. We were going to go on a skid after a nice run, but look, to me, when you have your ideal starting 11, you can go out there and you can dismantle opponents. Your opponents, at no point has Ange Ball ever said our opponents aren't going to get a chance in front of goal. That's never happened. Even when we did go 10 games undefeated, every single 10 of those opponents we played had at least 2 to 3 opportunities in front of our goal to say do something, and typically it was Vicario or them just messing it up. But that's my point: is Ange Ball's there. It's always been there. It's just a matter of what percentage we're firing on.
Tyler, let me bring you in and welcome. I forgot to say it, Shadavi, on Spurs Kings TV. Is Ange Ball back, or is, as what Jacob said, it's always been there? It's just that it was executed very well on Sunday, and it looked better because of the result and everything that happened.
Yeah, I agree with Jacob for the most part. I think it has always been there. It's just, we're lacking the chemistry fully yet. We got to get more training. Next season and the season after are going to be the real tests. This is just a practice season. And the fact that we're already, looking good for top 4 is amazing. So I'm definitely not going to complain on that aspect. Going into the match, I did expect us to get a clean sheet. Actually, I knew they were going to be tired going into it, and if we held on for the first 45, they were going to open up easily for us. So I was really happy about that. I thought the guys played a really good game, and at halftime, I wasn't really upset with the performance. I know we didn't have a shot on target, but second half was great, very clinical. I think we had 5 shots on goal, and 4 of them went in. So really good finishing from the boys. So yeah, no, I couldn't complain anything about the performance. I thought it was great.
No. So, Ash, let's get into the most important thing, right? So, obviously we're all speaking positive about this performance, how great it was, and this, that, and the other. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Emery.
Right.
Tactics.
Good evening.
Yeah. What made him, how Villa have been playing all season, right? Even when they came to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they've pretty much been playing the same formation. Why in the world would he change? In probably what, let's be honest, Villa were well up for this game. The players were overhyped, the fans were overhyped, and was probably a bit overhyped, and hence the reason why McGinn later got sent off and Emery had to tell the fans, calm down a little bit, right? But why would he change the tactics to a 3 at the back?
Scared.
The only sense I can make it is that, and this is the thing, people want managers to adapt. They want them to change and tweak depending on the opposition. He obviously looked at us, and good evening all to you as well. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Like, he probably said, raw, you see that Wolves game? You see that Brentford game? You see what I'm trying to say?
Even Crystal Palace, yeah, because they played 3 at the back.
He saw the blueprint, and he's like, yeah, I might have some of this. Let me go on that, because that is Spurs' Achilles. That's their weakness. If we come at them and we go machine for machine, we might be exposed. We might be in trouble, and we're playing into their strengths. They've got 3 wingers or 3 players that are quite front-footed. They like to run in behind. They like space to exploit. And he saw what happened at the Spurs Stadium in terms of the way we play, the way we were front-footed, the way we lacked a lot of possession. So he said, you know what? I'm not going to play into a Johnson. Johnson's going to want to run in behind. I'm not going to play into or even a Werner. I actually thought it was going to be Werner that was going to start. And he probably thought if I play a high line.
Do you know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I thought, I'm so glad he played Johnson, because I didn't think Werner had a good game the week before, even though he scored. There were so many parts of his game. And if Ange saw that and went, actually, I'm going to put Johnson in, I think that says that Werner didn't have as good game as everybody thought, because he scored and he was not selected the week after. Johnson was obviously the better player, and Johnson was the reason why we won the week before. But carry on.
No, facts. I mean, I was going to say, like, the way Johnson came on and was so explosive, he thought maybe he deserves a start ahead of Werner. And so, but going back to Emery obviously had a game in the middle of the week on Thursday, in Europa, as Jacob's already mentioned. Tyler's already mentioned. And he probably thought, all right, to save the legs of my players, and rather than having them running around and getting fatigued and tired and trying to match Spurs' energy, who've had a whole week off, he knows how Ange likes to play relentless, saying it's not, we don't stop, we don't. Like, that's the tactic, like 90 minutes of pressing, 90% of running. So he said, all right, what we're going to do is reserve the energy, and then maybe I'll tweak it as maybe the half goes on, or maybe in the second half I'll tweak it. But to be fair to him, in the first half, the 3 at the back, we didn't really create too many chances. He was limiting us to very few chances, if not none. And then I think the actual big chances in the first half, they look more of the threat. So, like, he's probably looking at it thinking, yeah, you know what, this is probably the right tactic. On the day, like, my tactics were right, but the players just weren't delivering on the actual front, because I saw what's his face, Ollie Watkins. He had a chance to score a goal, and even though it was offside, I saw him come inside at certain times, will take an extra touch and try to pass it into Bailey, when normally he would just take a shot on his left or get out of his feet a bit quicker and shoot. Against our defenders, we're not going to give you that much time. So I just felt like that's the reason why Emery probably thought, I'll play this kind of, counter-attacking side style of football. and obviously it didn't quite go down the way he wanted, especially in that second half. But what do you think as well? Like going back to that Ange Ball, do you think Ange Ball's back? I know you're the host. But
do you know what? It's one of them. I'm not too sure. I'm in the case of that second half performance was probably the best performance of the season, bar Arsenal away. Right, it was better than Burnley. That is how good. Because, and I wanted to ask you guys this actually, because I felt tactically Ange got it spot on, and I felt like he adjusted some things from that first half team to make sure that, you know, you saw Kulusevski drop a little bit deeper, so, and Sarr was then pushing on, and hence the first goal. And you just saw it was a slight tweak in that sense, and I think he told Johnson to come slightly inside because that's where he saw the weakness in Villa. Right, and you could see we were getting a lot of joy in that middle once they were a lot more closer to Son. So my question is to you as well, and before I get Jacob and Tyler in, is Ange able to adapt? Are we seeing that he's not tactically inept? It's just taken quite a bit of while for him to get his tactics across to the players, and they're now starting to produce what he's been asking for weeks.
I mean, yeah, I did a little video on it. 5-3-2. This is the average positions. Number 11 being Ollie Watkins, Bailey being number 31, Douglas Luiz being the holding midfielder. And you can see they tried to have a three at the back, and they tried to use the full backs as wing backs, as Cash is there and Ding is there. And then you've got obviously Tillemans number 8, and then you've got Douglas Luiz number 7, quite close to them. So that was the formation that Emery went for. And then if we swip over to Spurs, obviously we started in a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, as it says there. But predominantly you can see our average positions, Mickey van der Ven and Romero in the kind of half space channels. When I mean half space, I mean the edge of the areas. So roughly around that way. We have Basuma playing the deepest of the pivots. You've got Maddison playing the 10, dropping in quite a bit with the Doggy playing in that kind of half space channel. And again, as you said, Marlon, you've got Brennan Johnson playing a little bit more narrow, a bit more inside, with Son not too far behind, and Kulusevski being the highest, furthest forward player, with Sarr playing alongside Porro in these pockets here. Yeah, so basically, after that, you go to the actual stats itself. The actual stats was, this is the total stats, by the way, 1.55 XG with 69%. So we totally dominated them. Total shots, they had 10, we had 9. So it was, far and few between. They had 1 shot more than us. On target, though, they've only had 1 shot on target. We had 5, 2 shots off target, 1 off target. And then to go into the other stats, 6 corner kicks, we had 4, they had 5. Big chances missed, they had 1. We had no big chances missed. Counter attacks, they had 1. Counter shots, 1. Shots inside the box, 7. We had 7. 3 outside the box, 2 to ours. And then the goalkeeper stays 1-on-1. So goalkeepers didn't really have much to do. And just moving forward, there was a attack momentum bar. We had quite a lot of the possession. They only really threatened us, as you can see, towards the end. That was probably one of their better chances towards the end. But we dominated pretty much the whole game, apart from maybe in the first half when they were getting those little counter attacks I was talking about.
Can I say something about this, Ash?
Go for
You're
it.
talking about there at the end when they had the most of their chances to attack. Look, 2 goals came during that for us. Talk to me nicely.
As you can see right there, 2 balls right there. Pause. But yeah, man, 2 goals.
That's what I'm saying. 2 goals when they're having their most threatening. We're talking about, is Ange Ball existent? Does he adapt? Bro, he was cooking.
Well, this is it. I think when you attack Spurs, that's when you're at the most vulnerable, and that's when Ange Ball comes alive and literally hit you like a drop of a dime. So Doggy and Johnson linked up really well, I thought. His Johnson on the ball and a Doggy on the deeper part of that channel, and then you got Son trying to run in behind that centre back, trying to run on his blind side. I don't know if you guys can see that, but literally that's the little triangle that I always refer to, that Spurs are creating constantly to kind of beat people's low blocks or defensive tactic ploys to kind of stifle Spurs' attack. Here again, you've got Johnson making a through ball into your Doggy. Your Doggy's running in behind, and their link up was just all the time. You know what I mean? Pressing as well. Son would start it. Johnson wasn't far behind, trying to force errors. Your doggy then follows it up, and that was a triangle we're talking about again. Son there trying to press, and then your doggy pressing Basuma there in that one. Direct Basuma surprised me with his long balls as a 6. He actually picks out Kulusevski on the wide on the right-hand side. Your doggy there again, linking up with Johnson.
He had done it from right to left too a few times, I remember.
Yeah, from right.
Basuma switching the play nice all the way to Brennan Johnson as well.
100, bro. 100, bro. And then here, your doggy firing across. We'd like to see Son in that right in that middle. If Son's not there, then you want to see Madison or Kulu in that position. No one was there, and that's where we had that chance missed. And no one really thought about our first half. You can see the players arriving late, but we need to be in that box.
Kulu was late. Yeah.
Kulu was there on the other end. He was trying to whip it back in, even though he was a bit late. Then Madison's trying to be that number 9. Son's just behind him. You can see the back of the shirt 7, and Johnson's trying to get in there, but the cross was just a little bit too overcooked, and it ends up going wide. Johnson again coming on the inside, which Marlon spoke on about. What I'd like to see with Johnson coming inside there, I would like him to have a shot on his right foot, his stronger foot. But again, here again, he's taken on John McGinn. They talk on Cash quite a lot, but in this instant, he beats John McGinn and he sends him to the shops. Again, you've got Basuma winning the ball high up. Here's the 3 I was talked about before. Again, your doggy doing the outside run, making Johnson go on the inside and causing confusion. He comes in, he travels. Again, Johnson beating Cash this time, beating on the outside. And this is happening time and time after again. And that left side was torrid. We kept going down that as an actual play. We had the most attacks down that side. Villa on a counter-attack, they were effective. Sometimes when they got the ball, they played it out really quickly from McGinn into Ollie Watkins. This time it was offside, but Porro was there to clean up just in case. Us actually playing out from the back, we were quite effective. And a lot of Spurs fans are very nervous. Why do we keep playing it out from the back? Why do we keep playing it out from the back? It goes into Basuma. Suma plays the ball into Sarr, and Sarr is actually really important there. If he loses the ball in that position, then that's a turnover and that's a chance. So I understand why people are nervous about us playing out from the back. But actually, when he gets it into Porro gets his head up, fires it into Madison. Madison fires it into Kulusevski. Sorry, into Son. Son carries that ball, and Kulu does an outlapping, an overlapping run, and he just times it a little bit wrong, and then Son passes it into him, and it goes offside. Otherwise, he's in. He fires a ball right across the box, and Johnson would be there for us a tap-in merchant. I've heard that quoted many times, but I personally think that right there was a pattern of play. We suck teams in when we're playing out from the back. That draws the opposition in. We quickly do a fast transition where we do 1 to 2 touch football, and that's how we exploit teams. And on that moment, we were unlucky. Madison again outside of his boot, trying to find Son in that pocket. And on this time, on this occasion, Son was unlucky not to get a touch and get his first touch under and able to get a chance. Again, pressing. We actually force an error. We force a mistake in this particular instance. Again, Johnson's on his bike, forcing Konsa to actually kick the ball off of the pitch, and we end up getting that possession back. Direct passes again from Basuma into Kulu. Madison going deep, trying to find Basuma. Basuma with a forward pass, finding Son. Son's trying to find Johnson out wide. Basuma winning the ball high up again. And this was our play during the first half. And lots of people said we didn't play too well. I just felt the final end piece lacked at times. Johnson there getting his shot blocked at that time. Your doggy winning the ball high up once again, trying to find a teammate, looking for Son, looking for Madison. Son making a run in between the centre backs. He chooses Brennan Johnson there on that occasion, and it doesn't come to anything. But again, when they did the counter attack, Romero was there to clean up, and he did quite well, and he dealt with the pressure from Ollie Watkins. As I said before, Watkins, too many touches, indecisive at times. Second half, this is the goal build-up. It was actually from the back. I didn't show all of it because we haven't got much time. But here we have that ball in between. Kulu winning that ball, that pressure, finds Sarr. Sarr is a Beckham-esque kind of cross that finds Madison. The transition was so quick. It was beautiful to watch. 1-0. Again, pressing high up, working that ball, getting that ball into Kulu. Kulu finds Son. Son has an option of going left or right. He can either give it to Kulu. He decides to go for Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson takes it in his stride, opens his body up, finds the top corner with the side of his foot. And I thought it was quite a good finish to beat a big Martinez. He's quite an imposing figure. I didn't show the challenge. We all saw it. McGinn got the red. And then again, we played out from the back. We exploited the spaces when they tried to press us. We sucked them in. And as a result of it, us playing out from the back, again, we're doing 2-touch, 1-touch football, spreading it out. And then eventually, we beat the press. All these pockets of space opens up. It gets into Kulu. Kulu actually has a shot instead of playing Son in. Son was wide open there. If he plays Son in, that's a goal. The second time we do it, we play out from the back again. This time it results in a goal. So we play into the ball. We play it into Porro. Porro plays it into I forgot his name, man. Højbjerg goes back into Son. Son has patience, plays it back to
Pierre Zinedine.
and then the ball comes back into defense. Højbjerg does a Cruyff turn. I was shocked. He carries the ball up the pitch. He fakes it, beats my man, and then passes. Finds Sonny gets the ball, picks it up. It finds it's not Sonny, is it? No, that's another
Pierre
chance.
with the ooh-wee.
The Kulu, that was a Kulu chance. The Kulu was unlucky. But this is the third goal, actually. There was a little build up between Kulu and Porro. Kulu gets the ball, gets it wide, fires it across to Son. Son smashes the ball, uses bare power and his finesse, and just beats Martinez. The fourth goal, real quick. Again, it was lovely link-up play between the old guards, Bentancur and Højbjerg. Quick interchanges. We're moving the ball around. The space opens up. He carries the ball, and we all saw the goal. We know what happens next. Son gets the ball. He cuts it back into Werner. Werner just opens his body up and finds that far corner. But yeah, that was Basuma's heat map. I just thought I'd give a quick mention because he did 3 long balls, which were all 4 long balls and 3 were completed. 4 out of his 6 ground duels were completed. Aero duels 1 was 1, and he had a standout game for me. And I don't think a lot of people have actually spoken about him, but that's what I thought. We did quite well, and that was a part of why we were able to beat Emery's press, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think other than the one bad giveaway from Basuma, his game was almost perfect. He had a really good game. I was definitely very happy to see him back to top form because he has been struggling a little bit. So that was good to see.
Also, Ash, you mentioned am I muted? No. You mentioned Ollie Watkins there. I like that you brought him up. It made me think of something. You said too many touches. Didn't know what. It wasn't too many touches. What do you do when the big bear's chasing you, huh? What do you do? You try everything you can. He tried, and you know what? He just laid there on the floor, cried. He needs some milk. All right, he's laying there rolling, holding his face when he got hit in the ribs. What are we doing? So Ollie Watkins, it wasn't because he's just that bad. I mean, he is bad. I'm not buying this Ollie Watkins hype. To me, he needs to stick to orange is the new black. Shout out that Netflix series. But that's what he's best at.
Tyler, just quickly bring you back into it as well. Do you think a lot of what Ash was talking about was more down to Emery's tactics, or was it just more down to Ange actually now learning the Premier League and getting his tactics spot on?
I don't know. I mean, I was definitely a little bit surprised to see Emery had changed it up, but I think we were actually pretty prepared for it. I know in the first half we didn't like create the best of chances, but there was like 3 or 4 opportunities where I thought Son was in a good position. Johnson and even Udogie got the ball in the box, and neither of them took a shot. I think we were trying a little bit too hard to get that final ball, that perfect pass to get the goal. Obviously, they hit us on the counterattack a little more in the first half, I thought. But I think to me, I don't want to like take credit away from Ange and the boys, but I think they just really tired out. I think Watkins played 90 minutes against Ajax. Douglas Luiz played 90 minutes against Ajax. I was surprised because they rested Bailey, didn't they? So he was fresh, and Udogie completely shut him down. So no, I think a little bit of both. But I think the more time Ange has with the guys, the more they're gonna, learn the system. The more chemistry they have with each other, we're just gonna keep creating more and more chances and higher quality chances at that.
Ash, another elephant in the room, and Mr. M has probably brought this up for it's just spot on. Right time as well. You must have known what we were going to talk about. Second half performances. Apart from probably Wolves, Why are we only turning up for second halves now? At the beginning, when especially when we lost to West Ham and Chelsea and Villa, we were blitzing people within the first 10, 15 minutes. We were literally going gung-ho. It seems like that's kind of taken a step back now, but we seem to be doing it in the second half. Do you think this is a new tactic from Mange, or is it a case of, again, we're learning the system, we've been with him longer, he doesn't want it from the beginning, or has he learned the Premier League that actually you can't blow yourself out within 10, 15 minutes?
I'm taking it game by game, if I'm being totally honest. I listened to his comments afterwards, and he basically said at half time, keep it up. What you're doing is working. They started to tire towards the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I do take credence to what he says. And I do feel like even though fans complain, we're going backwards, we're going sideways, I think actually the longer we have the ball, the more defending the other team have to do, the tighter they're getting. And those openings start to open up. Everyone's complaining about the horseshoe. Arsenal do it. Man City do the horseshoe. Do you know what I'm saying? Times we do go direct. I think in this game we went direct at times, but I just felt the final third we were lacking in terms of the final ball, the through ball, the passing, the crossing, etc., decision making. In that particular game, I felt that's where it kind of fell off, and that's the reason why we didn't get the job done in first half. But I do concede your point, as in, like, we have been starting slower in halves, but in this particular game in isolation, I just felt we had a lot of the possession, and it was just a matter of time before they got tired and we found our way and we kind of figured it out. I agree with Adrian in the comments. He said that Maddison and Son were interchanging quite a bit. When Maddison was dropping deep, Son would drop into the 10, you know what I mean? And he would try to find those balls. But then it was up to like Kulu or Johnson to run in behind into the number 9 position, or even Sarr to make a late run. And sometimes that wasn't happening, or sometimes they would make the run and we wasn't going direct quick enough. So I noticed when Romero had the ball, sometimes he could play that direct ball, but he was holding on to it for some reason. He wasn't actually giving those balls straight in when they did make those runs. So sometimes it felt like a bit of frustration on our part, if that makes sense. So I personally think that those fast starts will all depend on the game state, who we're playing, how high that line is. Do you know what I mean? How risk averse that team is, how brave we are, what decisions we make on the ball and on the day. So that's what it comes down to for me. But I honestly think moving forward, like that first half, we just need to kind of learn that positional play a little bit quicker, where if you see Madison drop in, Son's going to drop. It's like they work in tandem. So guess what? One of you has to be in that 9 role. You have to make those runs. Bogey gets in good positions at times at the edge of the box, but he's reluctant to shoot. So if that's the case, I would like to see one of the players swap over at times and get on the edge of the box and maybe have a crack, because we do get into good positions, but we're not taking full advantage, in my opinion.
Tyler, bring you in on that second half performance, because you mentioned it earlier, 1 shot on target in the first half. It was quite similar last week against Palace as well. Yeah. And it's been quite a similar theme over the last few games, right? Especially with Wolves as well, because that's one thing we can't forget. The Wolves performance is still stuck in there, right? So is it a case of the ad just kind of changed his way, or is it a case of Spurs have just learned to not be so quick at the beginning and calm it down a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like they try to feel it out at first for the first 45 minutes, not to waste too much energy, not to force too many passes. But I would like to see them be a little bit more aggressive in the first half, be a little bit quicker passing the ball. I think, when we bring in some better players as well, I think, in this summer in January of next year, once we get some better quality players in too, I think it's going to be a lot easier to create and move the ball quicker. But I don't know. I don't know if it's a tactic thing. I don't know if I don't know if the players are just trying to feel it out in the first half. I don't really know what it is. But if it continues, so be it. But as long as these second half performances stay completely locked in and high energy, creating chances, I think Son for the most part in the game was actually pretty poor, but just the moments of brilliance a guy like him can create, like just the clinicalness. He was just phenomenal in that aspect. Just the passes, the shot was phenomenal. He had a similar shot like that against Palace as well, where he hit the post. Um, I think the more quality we get into the team around Son and around Madison, I think the better we will play.
I just want to add on to what Tyler just made a brilliant point. In my opinion, I think Son wasn't 100% on it. I agree with him in the first half.
Yeah.
His decision making, his his quality actually on the ball. His movement was decent, but I
Yeah,
mean,
Mhm.
actual
he's,
the
maybe,
actual
it was some of his passing, weren't it? And
yeah, so it
final
was
ball.
slightly off. It was slightly off in
Yeah.
my opinion. But I just want to make another point because you did bring up Basuma making that off path, and I said it to you before, Marlon, in the previous stream, that sometimes when you're being brave and you make that mistake, yeah, then that can actually affect your game moving forward. So a lot of the time, the forward pass is on, but because if you make the mistake, like us fans, we notice it. So the player must know it as
Yeah.
well. As soon as you make like Romero, if he loses the ball, he must know it. So sometimes what happens is you're no longer making that forward pass. You want to keep hold of the ball, as in keep possession. So you're doing the safer pass where you pass it sideways, and then you're trying to build. It's almost like a slow attack because of it. It's almost like a slow attack. If he does a forward pass and it doesn't come off, you saw it with Madison. Madison would try to get into the spaces where he turned into a number 6 at times, and he would try to do that forward pass or he try to do a dribble. And as soon as he lost it, everyone's like, "Oh, Madison's quiet. He's not quite himself anymore, and he's kind of lost it, or he's not. He doesn't look the same since he's been back from an injury." No, what it is it's because if you are brave and you make the mistake, then all of a sudden the perception is you're not quite there yet. You're not quite up to speed. But if he does beat his man, then all of a sudden everyone's like, "Yeah, Madison, never doubted him. He's the best Premier League player in the league." You know what I mean? So it's that fine line between bravery and playing it safe and losing the ball for your team. Because if you lose the ball for the team, especially in those positions where we take risks, it's a turnover. They could end up scoring. And again, we're talking like it's the Wolves game all over again or an Everton game. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Jacob, bless you.
Oh, I
just
thought I
wanted to-
muted myself. My fault.
No, you did. Well, we can see you.
Duh.
So Jacob, I just wanted to bring you in on this second half performances. Obviously, you from the big clear. It's clear to see from the beginning of the season, especially the first 10 games, and then like the ones when we had all the injuries, we were very fast starters. But it seems to be in the last month or so we started to come alive in the second. Is it something that Ange's changed up, or do you think the team has been told to do it that way, and get it all out in like 10? It seems to be 10-minute spells, which we're literally flooring teams at the moment.
Well, I think it's always good for any team to hear a fresh message from the gaffer. I think that is always going to make you play better. But for me, I think it's less of a we're like waiting for the second half, or anything of that matter. To me, it seems like what happens is teams can play against us in our style and they can keep up. And I've equated it to like boxing this style. We're not going out there dropping haymakers. We're not relying on individual brilliance. This is a Ainge says we're going out there, we're fighting 10 rounds. And I want you to
Yeah.
fight the same in every single round. And it's just a matter of wearing down your opponent, in my opinion. Because over time, to me, it's not like all of a sudden Clement Longley could defend us so well and he's this all-star defender. Bro, it's Clement Longley. All right. After a while, the man's going to start slowing down. Guess what? That then opens more space for Son to make those runs into. And these are the things that happens. And I think that squads just can't keep up with the sheer cardio that we're putting them through. And for us, it is frustrating at times because yes, we're seeing Tottenham horseshoe football, and we're like, what are we doing here? Can we make an incisive pass? Can we make an incisive run? And it almost seems like when they allow us to have the ball, we are less influential in the final third. I would say we're kind of stale, and to me that there's an amalgamation of reasons why that is. But to better answer the question, I just really think that it's a matter of we're just going to keep going out there. In a boxing term, just keep the jabs alive. You keep those jabs alive, eventually the nose starts running. Eventually their mouth getting busted up. You start banging around their eyes and now they're getting closed up. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens. And we saw that was on full display. When we don't have our best pieces and we're still trying to do that, it's just less effective. It's like, again, tying into the answer of the Ainge ball, like it was not a matter of it being gone or we're waiting for the last 45 to do it. I think it's just we continue to do what we, and Ash will probably be able to speak on this from a tactical standpoint, but to my amateur eyes, it looks like we're doing the same damn thing and it's just working better. And to me, what is the factor, the human factor, the muscular factor? You start getting tight, you start not wanting to track the runner. You, as a midfielder playing against that, you stop wanting to push forward because you know you're going to have to track back and catch somebody because we're all pushing forward. And that, I think, 65 minutes of that really grinding them down, eventually the legs are going to tire, minds are going to tire, and you're going to see what we saw. And it's not necessarily them making a mistake, it's just us playing our game plan and doing it throughout the entire 90. And I think if you could do that successfully like we did, doesn't matter even if whoever it is, we've seen that it's effective when we break these teams down over time. It's not there were some games where we came out and we scored an early goal, but there was also some games where we allowed, I can't remember who it was. I think Brentford had a chance within 90 seconds of kickoff, a shot on goal or something crazy. That's what I'm saying. And they weren't the first, and they're not going to be the last. This is the style. This is what it lends itself to be. So I don't think it's a matter of like sitting back, waiting for the second half. I don't think it's a matter of Ainge. You know, there was a word you used earlier that I wanted to address. You said inept. I wouldn't use that word and Ainge in the same sentence unless it's saying he is the antithesis of.
Well, that's if you go around social media, there was a lot of people saying that was his problem.
I see all them.
I'm quoting them. You know, I just had to use it because that was the word being thrown around. It was especially after the Wolves game.
Naive. They said he's naive. They said he's been found out. Una Emery, good evening. Did you find that out with your crooked nose? Hope you did.
Before I get on to my next question, I wanted to quickly welcome Phil P. Are you well?
Wow. Woo!
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 Yes, people, how are we?
We are good. I might as well bring you straight in, Phil P. You've probably heard a bit of what we were talking about, the second half performance.
Coming through for the Kings. How are we all?
We're all good. What do you make of them? What do you make of these second half performances right now? Why are we started to play in the second half and not the first? Can you hear us?
Can he hear us for real?
He might be on a bit of a delay.
I can hear you now, Ash. I couldn't hear you before.
Woo! So again, everyone, woo!
Woo! Woo!
How's life, gang?
It's all good, Phil. It's all good.
I had to come through and see what's happening.
So Phil, quickly was
Good
asking.
evening.
Asking about the second half performances. I don't think you can hear me.
How much of a delay am I on?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Phil?
I can now, yeah, but I can't.
You can't hear the rest of them.
On.
You might have to log on, log off. You might have to...
I'll be back.
He can't see either. It wasn't just me.
Why are we just the first half? Why do we not play in the first half? Why does it take a second half to turn up?
Listen, I've only just turned up myself, so I can't say anything. I think you know what it is. I think it's a cost-cutting exercise by Levy. If we turned up for the whole game, then the players would start demanding more money, and the OAPs would just be smashed up even more. So it is what it is. Concession pricing, concession wages, second half show ups.
I tell you what, Phil Pete, log off and log back on so you can hear everyone else. Okay. And I'm going to answer Spurs's talks question.
Oh yeah. Let me get it back up.
Listen, Ash, if I've got any problems logging back in, I'll just see you next week, okay?
Yeah, for real. Ash, do you feel like we don't plan our game strategies before games because the players we have, we should at best blowing teams out of the water? Now, if I'm looking at Aston Villa as the case study, in my opinion, as I said before, I don't know if Ange anticipated the back five. Like You know that they were, but the fact remained that it still didn't matter because they still played a higher line, so the space was still in behind, so that didn't change. But I feel like no matter what tactics you throw down on the day, the players have to kind of figure it out themselves at times. Do you know what I'm saying? So as much as you plan and plan for the week, like sometimes it goes out the window. So they've got a plan to disrupt whatever we're coming with. Am I making sense? So, like, supposing we saying like, we're gonna do this today. We're gonna target Matty Cash. Matty Cash, we think he's gonna want to bomb up and down that wing. Let's get him behind. Anytime he presses, we're gonna target him or we're gonna get him behind. Sometimes during a game, they might what's his name? Emery might see that and he might ask one of his fullbacks, sorry, one of the three centre backs to pull across. So then all of a sudden, that centre back on the right hand side, he's there covering for Matty Cash. Now that game plan's out the window. We need to change our tactics during the game. Am I making sense? So every game, we have to slyly figure it out whilst keeping the same philosophy alive, in my opinion. But yeah.
So Ash, why I've got you. So let's talk about the big thing that happened in the first. Well, had probably happened in the first half, but ended up carrying on the second. VDV looks like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, but we finally got to see the man we signed in January play more than 10 minutes. What are you concerned that VDV is going to be out for a while?
No, I think when Dragusin came on, he looked very assured of himself. He looked quite confident. I like the fact that he's quite towering physical presence in the pitch. Looks like another pit bull on the pitch, but he's got the height to match with it. In possession, I'm quite excited to see what he can do. There was balls that he was putting into the box. I saw not just like over the top, but on the floor. But I do like the fact that we've got another dimension that, like, it's not just Romero that's going to put balls into the not box, but he's going to play long balls at times and be direct. I like the fact that that's Dragusin's go-to. So he's able to switch the play at times. He's able to do diagonals, and that can open up teams. That gives us a whole different dimension. And then also from a defensive standpoint, I think we haven't seen it too much, but I'd like to see him aerially, like in terms of like set pieces when we have to defend corners and free kicks. He could actually help us maybe against Fulham. Fulham might want to get us on a set piece, and he's there able to help us in that capacity. So I'm very excited to see what he can do. And I want to see if he can travel, how well he can travel with the ball as well, because I have seen that in his game. And if he can travel with the ball, I wonder if we could utilize him in a different way. And the reason why I say that is because I've been watching some Italian football, and I've been watching Inter Milan, and their centre backs do something amazing. They literally turn into, I know it's going to blow your mind, it's going to sound wacky, but their centre backs turn into midfielders and they carry the ball. Now, we saw Van der Ven try to do it and he got caught, and then the ball turned over. But I'm just thinking that could be a tactic moving forward where they're seeing a centre back doing a late run or carrying the ball up, being an extra attacker, and then one of the midfielders, we saw
Van der Ven's done that.
Yeah, Van der
Did
Ven
that last week.
I'm saying Van der Ven did it, but he got caught in possession, and I'm just intrigued to see if that's an actual tactic, and if Dragusin does that same tactic where he gets on the ball and he carries the ball forward. I want to see his ball carrying abilities, because I know
I would imagine his ball recovery pace is not quite as much as Van der Ven, so I don't know how confident I would feel about him pushing up. Because Van der Ven, like you said, when he came back from injury, he started ball carrying and pushing more forward, and it was like Romero would sit back in those instances. And to me, I think it is like a little bit of a symbiosis between the two center backs in that. But for me, Dragusin, this is why we got the guy. This is why he was brought in. This is why that money was spent, because inevitably someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to hurt their toes, need to paint their nails, or go off to the cleaners because they get a suspension. That's just natural in the sport. So you got to have a person who, number one, can push to try and get on the first team, but that not necessarily a bench player. I think the word is a little harsh, because Dragusin will probably say, "I'm not a bench player. I'm genuinely here trying to challenge for the first team. And you're always going to get a chance in the matter of a season. And it was only a matter of time until we saw him. The whole, he's only been getting 10 minutes on the pitch here and there. And one of those instances, he almost gave away a penalty. So this is very relieving to see him play for almost an entire half, and we still keep a clean sheet. And we actually score goal. I know Milesy or Millsy, whatever that bozo's name is on Spurs play, I know he doesn't know when Dragusin came onto the pitch, but it was 0-0, and it was more than 30 minutes. So to me, that's a good, clear indicator that this is not too big of a pool for him to swim in. But boys, I do have to jump. I have a show that I'm late for, but I appreciate you both. I'm sorry about that internet issue. I don't know what happened. It's like all of y'all froze, and I was like, what's going on here? And then everything just stopped because of the Wi-Fi. But I do appreciate y'all. Everyone in the chat, if you haven't already, I'm going to ask, what's wrong with you? But hit a like on the video, all right? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because if you do those two things, you support the channel for free. And so it costs nothing to be a good person. All you got to do is a little bit of finger action. There you go. You know what I mean, Phil. I see that face. Don't look perplexed. You know what I mean. All right, everybody. You have a great rest of the show.
Thank you,
Later,
Phil.
Jacob.
No, Jacob, I mean. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming on.
Tyler, I want to bring you in on it. Dragusin.
What an exit.
Yeah, what an exit. Dragusin, what did you make of him for the 30 minutes? Or 45, I should say. 45.
Yeah, I thought he played pretty good. I think he gave the ball away maybe once. But other than that, his passing looked really good. I'm excited to have him for set pieces, as Ash was saying, and crosses coming into the box, because that's where we've struggled the most. That's where we've been conceding the most on either crosses or set pieces and corner kicks. So, and even offensively, I'd like to see Dragusin come in the next game, maybe against Fulham, or I know there's an international break coming up, so Van de Ven might be back after Fulham, but we'll just have to see. But hopefully Dragusin come on and get a goal in the next game.
Phil, you obviously Van de Ven. Are you worried about he's going to be missing for a couple of weeks, or are you more than happy with Dragusin coming back in to fill his boots?
Look, I think you got to be a bit worried, right? Because Van de Ven showed first half, if anyone has been in a cave and not been watching or paying attention, how many meters or yards did he make up on Ollie Watkins, who's not slow by any measure, in that first half, and then he absolutely clamped him, which was beautiful to see. And Ollie Watkins just didn't fancy it after that. He had to swap over to... How scared do you have to be, or how rattled, to leave one defender and think, I'm going to have an easier time going off and facing off against Romero? That's what we're dealing with. So he was done. He was done psychologically at that point, Watkins. So am I worried? I think we've got to be. But one thing that gave me a lot of hope when Dragusin came on was when he took that shot straight in the privates, because the guy's got balls of steel. Because I'd have still been laying on Villa Park turf now if I'd caught one square like that, and the guy just sort of took a moment, got back up, and walked it off. So yeah, balls of steel in many ways. So yeah, look, I'd obviously rather Mickey was healthy. So yeah, we'll wait and see. I know there's a few reports going around. It might be a bit of an issue. He's going to be out for a while, but let's just wait and see. And like our boy Jacob was saying, this is why Dragusin's there, right? He's there to step in, but he's trying to prove himself. He's now in possession of that shirt. He's going to want to show and prove and show that he's been worthy of the transfer, and he's trying to build a reputation for himself. He chose Spurs over some team called Bayern Munich in Bavaria. So he's trying to do a bit. Yeah, who are they, Ash? Do you know? Spurs Old People's Home. So if you can't get a discount from Levy, if you're not getting a good concession, go and play for a team called Bayern Munich. Do you know what I mean? They'll take care of you.
So my next question. I asked this on Sunday after the game.
Well, listen, you know what it is? Marlon, I can't hear you when you're asking me questions, so it's not me being slow. It's just I can't hear you on the audio. but I love you.
I'll get Ash. Ash, you tell him I'll get him to.
Yeah,
I'll get you to
translator.
this. Yeah, Ash
Yeah,
will be the
exactly. Ash,
translator.
if you could translate for me, mate, that'd be amazing. Well, listen, it's not me being favourite because you're both kings in my book. It's not that, you know, Ash, because you've been on Last Word on Spurs, I only want to associate with you and shit like that. You know what I mean? There's no favouritism here between the kings.
Tell him he's talking the truth. Ash, so let me get into the front three. A lot of people have been saying it's been quite controversial, and everyone's picking their front three in different moments. And I want to get the chat involved again in this one because I'd like to see who would be your front three and why for the next how many games. Don't depend on who's your favourite front three that you've seen so far this season. Who we've got left to play.
I don't have a favorite front three, but I think the front three that's performing at the moment need to stay. Yeah, the front three that we have at the moment need to stay together, in my opinion. I don't really like the chopping and changing. I like players to know where their teammates are going to be, certain characteristics, etc. If I look up, I know you're going to be there, etc. And I think for positional play, it's very important that these players nail it. When they get tired, then you have your players to come on. You look to your bench to keep that intensity up and the energy up. Now Marlon's gone. Hot damn. But yeah, literally, I would stick with Brennan Johnson. I'd stick with him because he's on form. And if a player doesn't perform, then I would swap Johnson out, for example. If Johnson's not performing on the left, then I'll bring Laverna back in. And same with Kulu. If Kulu's not been performing, if Kulu's not pressing the same, if he's not linking the play well, if he's not assisting, or any goal contributions, then again, Kulu can get it as well in the neck. There's no one that's safe apart from Sonny. I think Sonny's the only guy I think that is kind of safe. He is our captain after all, and he is our top scorer. He is clinical. He is getting assists. He's had an active game. He's adding through balls, key passes. Someone said it in the chat already. He's our fifth-time all-time joint all-time goal scorer. I think in terms of like goals, assists, or goal contributions, he's third for Spurs as well. I think that's massive. So I think the older he gets, the more he's going to evolve as a player. So it's not just going to be a man that's going to run in behind and exploit spaces. I think his movement is exceptional. It's slightly different, not slightly, it's a lot different to Richarlison, in my opinion. I think Richarlison's more of a box striker, and I think Sonny is able to find the pockets and find the different spaces. He knows how to peel off. I think that there was a chance where Kulu, I showed it in one of the clips, and he peels off to the left, so he's not even staying as a number 9. He peels off to the left, and when Kulu fluffs his line, he's like, bro, I was free. He could have just, you know what I'm saying? He could have just fed me there. I would have put it in the back of the net. And we've already seen the his goal ratio compared to like a Haaland and Ollie Watkins. He needs less chances to finish his dinner. So you're talking about someone that's an elite performer. We just need to make sure that we build a team more or less around Son. We don't get a wing. We don't put Son on a wing anymore. I don't think that's the right position for him. I know we can play that position, but for me, Son, and then everyone else, it's like the rest of the characters, in my opinion, if I'm being honest.
Tyler, let me bring you in on it. Front three. If you could pick your favorite front three right now to finish the season off, who's your front three?
Yeah, I agree with Ash on Sonny 100%. I think he's one of the most clinical players in the league, and the difference between him and Richarlison are Sonny had a game like Richarlison, honestly, against Villa. He wasn't playing too good. He was giving the ball away a little bit. He wasn't making the best decisions. But it's those moments of brilliance from him. He's just such a class player that can just turn the game around and can get us the win. So I think him, no matter what, I think I do agree with keeping him at striker, but depending on the team, maybe I would bring Richarlison in if we were gonna cross it a lot into the box. But for me, it's Son for sure, and Kulu's 100% for me on the right. I don't think anyone really challenges with him. I think his ability to carry the ball, his strength. I think we just absolutely need him as pressing. He's just so strong. He helps the team in so many ways. I know he's been getting a lot of stick, but I think he's been playing pretty good. I think his decision making is what's been letting us down a little bit, but I'd keep Kulu in at right wing as well. And then on the left, going into the game, I was actually hoping Werner started on the left, but Johnson did have a really good game. So between the two of them, whatever Ange thinks is best. Personally, I'd still probably go with Werner. I think he's a little bit better of a player overall, but if Johnson can continue to improve and have performances like that, there's no way he's going to be left out.
Phil, can you hear me now?
Yes, mate. I can hear you. I can see you. I feel like I'm living in like a Western democratized place with Wi-Fi. It's all good.
You're living the dream now.
Exactly. I do think every time I go on a stream, Levy is locking me down. He's having a chat with his boys at BT and just saying, "Look, we've got to stop this guy."
Well, it's quite funny you say that on Sunday. Whenever we spoke slightly out of turn on Levy, the stream would start messing up. So I started asking the right people in the right questions.
I'm not going to say anything about Levy tonight, okay, guys? Just it's all good.
But your front three.
Listen, I tend to agree with Ash. The only thing I think, because look, I was shocked when Jono started instead of Timo. I would have thought, look, Timo probably had his best game in a Spurs shirt the game before, and I just thought he's going to persevere with that. But you know what? As much as I think, and similar to the Dragusin centre half thing, what you have is what you hold. If you've performed, keep the shirt, keep your starting place. If not, come and sit on the bench with me, son. The only thing I think is, do we, and we're not there yet, but hopefully this is an evolution that we're going to see as we do, touch wood, get better players coming in through the door. Do we start to see, even if you're on form, sometimes you get dropped, just like City, Pep, no rhyme or reason. That's why, you have to be very, very, sure of yourself to put any City players in your fantasy team, because you got no chance. You know what I mean? They could be doing up the bench for months. You might never see them again. So it could be a horses for courses type situation, where he'll think, right, Johnson, he's got a goal, he is confident. Matty Cash is an arsehole. Let's get him up against him and see what can happen. So it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. But for me, I probably would favour Werner at the moment on the left, Sonny, and Kulu on the right. But I just think Johnson played well enough. He probably at Villa Park had his best game in a Spurs shirt, all in. So I tend to say leave him. Look, I think Kulu's a funny one because he's like I'm high up in the Kulu Defence League, but sometimes I've been feeding on scraps. Do you know what I mean? I've been literally like no petrol in the tank. We're coasting downhill, trying to get to the meeting of the Kulu Defence League, with absolutely no fuel in the tank at all. But on the quiet, he's still producing, and he's a tough guy. Hard to knock off the ball. He always looks pissed off when someone brushes him or tries to, and he sends them back to the weights room. Usually, he looked pissed off when he scores. The whole thing. So we'll see. Still doing bits. And look, on Sonny, I've just got to say, the fact that he's drawn level with Cliff Jones on their all-time Spurs scoring charts is amazing. Two of my dad's favourite players. He was lucky enough to see Cliff Jones when he played, and he loves Sonny. So two wide players that have clocked up that many goals for Spurs is incredible. And you know what? It's interesting. I think most of us are in a group chat earlier where the usual Sonny world-class debate kicked up the other day. And you know what? The other day, a couple of hours ago, you know what? I just thought to myself, his overall game, you could argue isn't elite, or probably, that's why now he maybe has to play through the middle or operate in that starting berth through the middle rather than out wide, because he doesn't seem to commit people in the same way as he used to, maybe. But which is weird because he hasn't lost any of his pace and his touch is obviously still good. But I just think to myself, sometimes final, it's fine to say someone's a final action merchant and, that's all they've got to their game. But at the end of the day, that is the game. We all bemoan the lack of number 9s anymore. And, what happened to the gunslingers, where, in the 90s, there were literally every team had at least 2, different times at Spurs, we had 4, the Man U treble side had 4 phenomenal strikers and now, you can barely find 4 in the whole league. So, if he's if he's balling out at 9, I mean, the sick thing is you look at Sonny's goal compilation and how many of them are just absolute screamers, left foot, right foot, outside the box, just literally curling them in from out of out of space. Sometimes he's not even in N17 when he's kicking the ball. It's just an absolute madness. So look, whatever he wants to do, he can do it. Look, long may it continue, but the other day I didn't think he played particularly well, but he's ended up with 2 assists and an absolute screamer. What's your finish like? Roofed it. Sit down, Martinez. Sit down again. It's great. It's great to see. It's great to see Sonny in full flow.
I just to add on to that, I think Sonny has developed a different ball because people were saying, he's not going to be physically strong enough against a low block.
By the way, just to update everyone who's watching, Arsenal just won 4-2 on penalties. They're through.
Thanks, Marlon.
Yeah, just to kill the mood.
Yeah, but someone was making the argument earlier, though. You want them to go a bit further, so they've got, the old midweek. I wouldn't want a Gooner to win a raffle. So, I'm not buying into that whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? But, and maybe, I don't know if it helps the coefficient, because does it help the coefficient because they won 1-0?
Yeah.
The result, I'm not sure matters, but if they won the actual 90 minutes game 1-0.
Yeah.
But
so it helps, but it's one of them. If it means them winning anything for us to get it, I don't care. I really don't want it.
I agree.
Listen, as I always say, you've got to take care of your own yard, right?
Yes, exactly.
We will finish where we'll finish.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm quite old school like that. Obviously, if we're trying to win something, it's a different matter.
Yeah.
But I felt better at a funeral than when we beat Man City last year at home when Kane got his record goal. So I'm like going, what is going on? We might have just handed those bozos a title. But luckily, the Arsenal banter train, it may come in different times each year, but it always pulls into town. And it's got a heavy load coming up from South London. Do you know what I mean? So, and just an update for all the people, all the viewers, and my esteemed colleagues on the screen as well. I spoke to my dad tonight, and he's assured me that it'll either be City or Liverpool. So we don't need to worry. He's spoken. The great man's spoken. So just everyone relax, enjoy the end of the season, and just wait for Arteta to trip over and faceplant somewhere in North London.
Big up Phil P. Senior.
Ash, as you were saying, sorry, carry on.
No, I was just saying, like, people were saying Son won't do well against a low block and he can't play against 3 defenders and hasn't got the physicality. And I just felt like against Palace, against a low block, he did the business again against the back 3. He's done the business again. I think his movement, again, like his not just movement, his link play. I think his link play has improved. And in terms of, I've said it before, that the key passes and through balls, they're happening more often. Now, whether his teammates finish it, that's something else. Do you know what I'm saying?
Ash, don't you think when you're at the stadium, especially, how many times does Sonny make a run? Like when the centre half, I think that maybe like he's taken a lot of money off of Romero, especially at cards, that maybe he won't pass to him, or maybe Romero's short-sighted or something's going on, because the amount of times he makes great runs in behind, and it's not even a difficult ball, just a little ping, ping.
Yeah. I said it earlier in the show when I did like a little picture reel, and I said hopefully with Dragusin being here, he can make those balls, because sometimes we get nervous that because Romero lost the ball during that game, and I wonder if that's affected him playing those balls first time in behind, because he hesitates at times. When the pass was on, Kulu was on, Son was on, they're making the runs, even Sar made a run, and it's like it's not going into them. So I'm just figuring, hopefully, we've got another person that can hit that ball, because Mickey van der Ven, as good as he is, he hasn't demonstrated, or he doesn't do it enough in terms of finding that ball over the top.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Dragusin comes in and he does that. And I said Basuma, he did 4 long passes in that game. 3 of them were actually got to their player. So I'm hoping that he starts to do it a little bit more if he gets on the ball and starts to be a bit more braver. It's just about the players being more brave and not worrying about what, you know, other people think, or letting it sink into their game. I think
the other thing about Sonny on the low block, Ash, don't you think if we can maybe work it with him a bit more, and obviously, look, I think one of the things maybe we've missed from the first 10 games is the relationship and rapport that Madders and Sonny had. You know, they were balling out like telepathic connection those first games, and maybe it's not quite there yet. That 1-touch, 2-touch stuff they were playing, if that comes back, that'd be good. But look, if we can, no one hits the ball like Sonny from outside the area. So if we can work some positions, that could be a really, look, someone curling it into the top bin from outside the box from 20 yards. It's, you know, a pretty quick and easy way to break down a low block, right?
Arsenal, if you remember that relationship that him and Sonny had, Chelsea game, if you saw that relationship that Maddison and Son had, and then the reverse fixture of Fulham, if you saw the goal that Sonny scored, it was almost outside the box, top bins, curler, and then Maddison scored the second goal, just gets it out of his feet and puts it in the bottom corner, slots it. And again, it was that relationship between the two of them. I agree with you. If they can find that sort of form coming into his next few games, then we're in for a bit of a party, man.
Yeah, I think maybe they should go on a date night together. Do you know what I mean? Just rekindle the bromance.
100%.
While we're speaking about Sonny, this is more of an Ash question. He brought this one up. But Son as captain, is he starting to prove himself as a captain the more and more as this season goes on? Ash, explain why you wanted this question.
I just wanted to throw it out there. I mean, because I think the days of the old school captains have gone, like your Roy Keanes, your Patrick Vieira's, and that's what I associated with as a captain on the pitch. Someone that will push you, shout you, you know, get the players together, rah, rah, rah. And I feel like the game's changed slightly. We don't have so much of that at the moment. Some people could argue maybe Van Dijk does that. He's got the old-fashioned centre back, but if that's the case, we've got now a leadership group where it's not just Sonny as a captain. You've got Maddison and you've got Romero as leaders on the pitch. So you do get some of that kind of like some of that fire in the belly. Do you know what I mean? I think I've heard younger players say, "Oh, yeah, I look up to Son, and the reason why I look up to him because he takes me aside and he gives me advice and he helps me where to push and what to do on the pitch, and small things like that help me a lot." So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, you know what? Sonny, he's not doing it in the old school way, but he's doing it in his own way, and I feel like when he's scoring and he's taking at the game by the scruff of the neck, in my opinion, I think that's him being a captain leading his way. Do you know what I'm saying? I've seen clips, as I said before, with him and Romero. They were almost like G'ing themselves up. And I'm like, right, you know what? That can work. That can run. I'm going to try and find...
Also, Ash, don't you dare leave a team meeting or a meal to go and play ping pong. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, there's going to be a tear up. There's going to be a serious tear up.
Oh, man said ping pong. Oh, I'm done. But like, yeah, listen, I'm gonna show you this clip if I can, real quick. Show on the stream. It's not a video, it's just these two having a little one-to-one. And these little things here, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, right, I want to see this more from Son. It was his idea to have the huddle as well. I'm seeing slight things that you're asking more of Son. You're trying to say, look, Son, what are you going to bring to our game? What are you going to step up? People can disagree, but that's my feelings on it, man.
I think everyone looks...
Go on, Tyler. I was going to bring... Stel, welcome. I'll bring you in a minute. But Tyler, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say everyone respects Son. Everyone looks up to Son in the squad. They'll listen to him. And Son doesn't hesitate. I've seen him multiple times this year throw his arms up and yell at the attackers when he hasn't gotten the ball. He will be vocal. We know that, especially with that bust up with Lloris we've seen in the past. But I think it's good that Son's the captain. Honestly,
Phil, what's your feelings on it?
Look, I think Sonny's one of those. Look, utmost respect for the guy, brilliant player. Obviously already written himself into, Spurs folklore. But we talked about his finishing and etc. And he's up there with the assists as well. I think in many ways he's a phenomenal ambassador for the club. So on that metric, great captain. I just think sometimes, and this might be like you were saying, Ash, maybe me wanting to hark back to the sort of pre-90s Roy Keane style or Dave Mackay to talk about a Spurs type. Sometimes I just think when our backs have been against the wall, he hasn't sort of been able to get us going and get us past it. But I don't know if that's the type of person he is. Look, for me, I think it's at least we've got outfield, leaders now, right? Or we're trying to instill that. We're trying to give these players more responsibility. So I give Ange credit for that. Because having a goalkeeper as captain, I think it falls down on a couple of levels at least. One, you're away from the main action of the game, okay, and two, I just think if the main person, your leader, the guy that's got the responsibility with the armband, isn't somewhere on the pitch, then it's a bad sign for your team. You've got to have someone on the pitch that's willing, able to go up to the ref, question a ref, have a word with other players, like we've just seen. I know that was probably in a break of play or before a kickoff or something, but you've got to be able to have that. And if you haven't got a leader that surpasses the guy that's in goal, then there's questions. And to be fair, look, maybe I think it was maybe a mark of respect with Hugo, is how he could play at that level when he was that over the legal limit with alcohol, was just probably everyone was in awe of him. You know what I mean? With Sonny, it's a different type of thing. You know what I mean? No games. Sit down and finish your lunch, yeah? No ping pong till after lunch. Slapping kids around the back of the head. Old school. Do you know what I mean? We've all seen the documentaries. Dad's old school. Do you know what I mean? Getting him to kick balls into bins at a tennis club. What's going on? Stella, have you ever done that with your kids? Have you done coaching like that? You tell me, brother.
We just get a belt out and whip them.
Old school.
Yeah. Super.
Yeah. To anyone who watches that, Stell is obviously not being serious, because I know people will be like, "Oh, look, Stell does this, Stell does that." So, be careful, man.
Wait, Marlon, you don't know what happens in Cyprus, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's rough. It's rough over there.
Stell, I'm going to ask you 2 questions because you've joined, and actually, I want to get your opinion on the question I asked the guys before as well. So, yeah. Son, is he a good captain? I'm just trying to break. I'm hopefully you say no, so you and Will can break up. I'm trying to put some controversy in Tottenham away here. But the first question I'd like you to answer though is front three. Who would be your preferred front three from now until the end of the season if you had to pick a certain three? Because the reason why I want to ask you is because I know 2 of those players that are being selected at the moment are not your favourite. One's not mine, but I know 2 are not yours. So it'd be interesting to know who you think our best front three will be to carry on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't know.
Timo Richie Jono.
I don't know. I don't know why I came on the show now. It's a big mistake. I'm just sitting at home quiet. I'll jump on the show. Oh my lord. Let me do your first question.
Yes.
Should mean something. Look, clearly the problem we had in the past was we banned the mayonnaise and ketchup from the canteen. So now Son's captain. The ketchup and the mayonnaise is back. And he's probably introduced some kimchi as well. So I think from a dietary perspective, Son being the captain it's been groundbreaking for the nutrition factor of the team.
Yeah.
So
actually, Stell, can I ask you something? Every manager that comes in at Spurs bans something else in the canteen, or even going back to Jerry Francis. Every manager that came in their players aren't fit enough. We've got to get them fitter. How unfit must that FA Cup winning side have been? And do we need to go back to that if we want to win trophies? Do we need to get all the mayonnaise out, cook with lard, everything?
Well, we've got Ange now. He's Greek, so he's introducing more food.
Yeah.
So he's adding.
Mazzetta's.
Probably got kebabs, chili sauce. No, look, I think Ash hit the nail on the head.
So racist.
I've come on the show, right? I'm getting clipped for saying whipping kids. Now I'm getting clipped for being called a racist. This isn't going well, man. This ain't going well. Look, I think Ash is right. The old school captains aren't. That generation isn't the same. So Son is kind of that hybrid. He's like the last touch of old school with new school. So I think we've got a nice balance with Son. I think he can connect to players like Romero, who's a bit of an old school head, although he's young, but he can also connect to the younger players in the club. So I think Son's a good captain. You know, he's won a trophy with Korea. He's the best player at the club. He's the star boy. So I think he's done well as far as captains go. I mean, what? See, look, for me, I don't get captains anymore. I don't get it. Like at the end of the day, if you can't motivate yourself as a player and you can't get focused, why do you need someone else to do that for you? Like if you're a professional, be a professional. You don't need someone to remind you you're a professional. Give us a professional performance. You know, you should be able to do that. So
But you need someone for vibes still. Look at Hendo with Liverpool and England. You know what I mean? Vibes.
I take it. Look, and that factor as well. Like, let's take most of our.
Give it to Basuma. Yeah. Give it to Basuma and Mr. Morale because they've got the best dance skills in the changing rooms. So them two, you know, they're on Twitter and Instagram every week with the latest.
Still, what I'd say to that, even in our everyday jobs, right? We'll go to work and we will do our job properly. But sometimes you do need like a manager figure to take you to that next step to make you produce better work. Sometimes people just need that motivation. They can't so there'll be loads of players. Yeah, we can say, they're not gonna do a professional job, but some people just need that leadership, right? In life generally. So actually, if Son is there as a good captain, I get what you mean, but at the same time,
what Ange is supposed to do, then Marlon. That's what Ange is for.
But that's
why you got 5 coaches on the sidelines.
But you need someone on when you're actually producing, you're out and actually doing the day-to-day job. Sometimes some people just need to get them through games, especially when, say, someone's made a mistake. Let's take Royale when he's getting booed, right, on the pitch and stuff like that, or Dragusin Sanchez. Sometimes it does take someone who's there with you, crossing those white lines to motivate you and give you that, like Roy Keane, like no matter with all these faults, a lot of the players looked up to him and were scared and they wanted to produce every game, right? And that's the difference between a good captain sometimes.
But also, similarly to Roy Keane, obviously I'd say they're probably polar opposites in terms of characteristics, playing style, everything else. But what's one of the famous stories about Keane? What happened in Saipan, where he ended up falling out with Mick McCarthy and the FAI, and he left because of it. Because he said, this is slipshot, right? There's the standards here are on the ground. There's no balls, there's no cones, the hotel's rubbish, but all the officials are staying 5-star. And he just had it out with everyone, and he ended up having to walk out of a World Cup.
And Fergie got rid of him. Because one time he said he offered one of the players to do a video analysis, and
he owned everyone.
Yeah, and then he made sure he put Keane right there in front of everyone in that training pitch, and he slaughtered him. And he said, "Look, he's never ever allowed back here." Do you know what I'm saying? He made an example of him. So,
but Ash, it's funny, isn't it? Like, you're talking about leaders and you're talking about repercussions here, right? 2 things. I don't think Fergie gets rid of him if he wasn't knackered, because his legs were gone by that stage. 1 too many knee injuries. Yeah, but even as he took him out and shot him in the back of the head at Carrington in front of everyone, like, Keane's gone. You'll never see him here again. Even that was almost like the last act of motivating the team, because I've seen Rio talk about this. He said, he's like, this guy's the captain. He's won everything at this club. He's the standard bearer. and Fergie's just taken him out to the back of the coal shed and shot him in the back of the head. No one's safe. No one's safe. You know, and this is the thing. I think Sonny. But to your point, Stel, you are right. Everyone's got to be self-starters and being able to motivate themselves. But we all know in any football at any level, there's the night before a game or the minute the team sheet is actually announced, right? There's only ever 11 happy players. And by the end of that game, there's probably only 8, the 8 that stayed on the pitch. And then everyone else is down in their luck. I was subbed off or I was a sub and I came on. And then I was an unused sub, all these people, and then all their families are talking to them, oh, he should be starting you, he should be doing this, rah, rah, rah. So actually, the manager has got a tough job to do. And of course, it always used to be the first team coach. There'll be sort of good cop, bad cop. But I think the captain is there to represent the players and to get people going. Maybe it isn't like that anymore. I don't know.
The thing is, right, every game, there's always a player that has a really good game. And that player, he's
not always at Spurs, though. Not always at Spurs.
Not always at Spurs, but the best player on the pitch who's energized, who's motivated. You can just see that there's a player he's on fire today. Normally, that player will naturally motivate the others. He'll be the one that'll be like, "Come on, boys, let's go, push in." They tend to become more captain-like because they know they're having a good game and they just feel more energized. That happens as well a lot in football. You just kind of expect Son to be that guy every single week. I kind of like what Ange did when he made Romero in charge of the back line, Maddison in charge in the middle. I kind of like that. I think he shared the workload. So yeah, listen, I'm happy Son's captain. I wanted Basuma to be the captain, by the way, at the start of the season. I did want Basuma to do it, but after watching the season, he's not captain material.
I do think though there is, like, even though I don't think they've shown enough yet, the likes of Sarr, the likes of Basuma, you know, these are all players that have got leadership characteristics in them. You know, Dragusin, you know, just all the centre halves, Mickey, all of them, they've got even the stature of them. You could see them with armbands.
Basuma's pretty quiet, and he's not.
Yeah, he's not as focused as I thought it was going to be. I'm just reading this quote from Dejan Kulusevski. He said, "I already know the day I leave Spurs, the part I'll miss the most is the dressing room. I think a lot of our family atmosphere is down to Ange. Ange is brave and makes you brave. He doesn't say a lot, but when he speaks, we can listen for hours. You can tell that he's been through a lot, and he often talks about what he's learned from his father. He's different from any other coach I've had. Everybody talks about tactics and winning, and that's good. But with Ange, it means a little bit more because it's about you as a person. It's about you as a man and what you believe in." And says, "I don't care if we lose, because everyone loses in life. If we lose, we're going to lose in our terms, never go away from being you. But and that's how I want to live my life. Okay, we're gonna face the best, but we're gonna do it our way. We're gonna play like we did our last. Let's be clear, we want to win. We are fighting hard to give you the trophies that you deserve. We train for you, we eat for you, we sleep for you. We know this club changes lives. It's a huge deal for me. I see people wearing my shirt. Because of that, it means that we connect on some level. And I still find it incredible that I can simply score a goal and send 60,000 people happy at home. But we are also a young team with many new players. We're going to win every game. And actually, Ange never speaks about trophies. He says, yes, we will get there. But first of all, we have to become us and we have to find ourselves. So I just look at that as a leadership quality. I feel like he's installing that belief in all the players, and they kind of know like their role. You know, like you were saying, there's many leaders on the actual pitch. It's no longer down to just one captain, and the right message for me is all in that caption. What Kulusevski is saying.
He sounds like a motivator, man. He sounds like someone that can motivate people by being not their friend, not their dad, but they're almost their mentor. And if I was to actually match Ange to any manager we've had in the past, I think he's more like Harry Redknapp than anyone else.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. Yeah,
it comes across like that, doesn't it? Like a bit of a Redknapp. Yeah.
Because you remember Redknapp when he first came in, he was just like give it to Modric. And he just said to him, you're by far the best player in this team. Just go out and express yourself. And look, I think you're right. But you know what? Those comments from Kulu, right? It just ties in exactly how much of it rhymes with what we saw on that Australian youth team documentary, you know, the enjoy your lunch speech. It's exactly the same. He's not saying do it for me, not saying do it for anyone else. Do it for yourself, but do it for your family as well. He's trying to trigger people into, you know, okay, what's important to you? Remember why you started. What do you want to do? But look, who knows where this will all end? You know, we don't know. We don't know, right? But whereas unlike some of the managers we've had lately, who were phenomenal managers, you know, let's not get it twisted. These were great managers, but unfortunately, it was part of a Ponzi scheme. You know, it is, like I said the other day to Sean, it's cheaper to get Conte in on 18 million than it is to buy a decent right back these days. Do you know what I mean? So what are you going to do? Yeah, I'll get Conte for 18 million. That'll shut the plebs up for a couple of months, and it did exactly 18 months as per usual. Same with Jose, but this is the right manager for us where we are now, right? And I know some people don't like that, but in terms of where we spend our money, how we spend our money, and what we're trying to do, and remember, everyone is aligned. Ange's got something to prove. He's coming in trying to prove I may be like older than your average bear. I look like a bear. I act like a bear. I eat like a bear. Don't leave your honey around me. And I've had to work my way up. You know, I've had to churn this butter all the way through these backwaters of football to get to the Premier League. But now I'm trying to prove something, and that Spurs need to prove something too. So the goals are aligned. How long they stay aligned for, who knows? But let's see.
I'm not 100% convinced by that. I'll tell you why. I think his speeches, his motivational talks, his kind of pulling on your heartstrings, that will get the best and the most out of you. But unless you've got that quality as well, it will only go so far, like it did with Poch. And I think there's just going to come that moment, whether it's next season or season after, where like, look, this is my view, and it goes back to what Marlon asked me. I do not see us winning anything with Brennan Johnson's, Timo Werner's, Brian Gills, Emerson Royals' backup, Højbjerg's as backup. And, you know, for me, Richarlison as well, I don't see it. I think, can we sneak a Carabao Cup with this lot? Yeah, we can. Can we win FA Cups, Champions Leagues, Europa Cups? I think we can get to semis, but that's it. I think, and it would be his motivational talks that gets us there, that maybe gets us in a title race, then we fizzle out the last 6 games. But Poch made us competitive at the highest level. I think Ange can get us there with the motivational talk, but to get that next step, you've got to buy that £100 million Declan Rice. You've got to get that.
Do you think
that's how I feel? I don't feel we can go that last bit over the line just by saying to everyone, be who you want to be. You know, I just.
Do you think like, obviously we don't have the same starting 11 as Poch, like a prime Poch I'm talking about. That prime Poch team was amazing, but we all know the bench lacked. Did you think that, like, with this particular team, we could improve our bench? Like, because already, like, you're seeing, whether we like it or not, Brennan Johnson came on off the bench and scored. Werner, whether we like him or not, he came off the bench and scored. Mm-hmm. And so it's a bit different to like an Nkudu coming off the bench or an NG coming off the bench.
Yeah, Harry Winks. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? The level, I'm not saying like the level's gone up on the bench, but at least we're having players that, you know, affect the game in a
but Ash, the real point is going to come, and maybe to your point, Stel, is when, say, for example, look, let's just dream for a second, right? We're not going to, because we'll have to go toe to toe with everyone else. Even the football gossip this morning was how many big teams are in for Neto, right? But say you do get Neto, right? If you've got Neto, all of a sudden, Kulu's doing up bench, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying like if we in the summer, I'm not necessarily saying Neto. I'm saying if we get someone on that level, maybe not 3, or I don't expect us to get 3 or 4 players that are top quality, but if we get Ash or 2 to
I
add
hear you.
to the starting 11, and that bench is Kulu or go on. Sorry, go on.
All right. If Kulu, Brennan Johnson, these type of players become the bench, I see where you're going with it because they're impact players, right? They can come on and maybe they can do something. But today, just to give an example, I saw Trossard come in to Arsenal, score a banging goal that's tied the game. They've gone to penalties and they've won it, right? I've seen Jesus come on the bench. I just feel there's a caliber that needs to come off the bench that we don't quite have. Brennan Johnson coming off the bench against Brentford, Crystal Palace, no problem. But until I see Brennan Johnson's and Turbo Werner's come off in the North London derby, when Man City come to town, when we've got a tough game away at Stamford Bridge, because they're the games that gets you over the line.
Yeah,
If they do it in those games, Ash, then I'll say, do you know what? I've got to eat some humble pie here. I'm going to get absolutely bantered by the entire Spurs community because they're actually doing well. And I've made my bed. I'm in trouble now. I'm in big trouble. We're going to lose subscribers.
That is
I have to shut down the channel. We've got no credibility left. I've ruined everything.
Still, just a quick thing though.
They haven't done that yet. And that's where I'm at. I need to see it.
Still, the only thing, like, and I agree with most of everything you're saying. The thing that comes to play with what Sunday was about is how important the game actually was for both teams. Like, let's put it in perspective. If we would have lost that game, that's 8 points behind. And I know we don't like talking about full spot, and it's not really the end and all. But actually, you would have seen that in the club that week, everyone in the club would have been going, "We need to win this game." There would have been a lot of pressure on the boys, and actually, you have to take Brendan Johnson.
Villa was saying it, weren't they? Old hamburger neck said it, didn't he? Before
and
the
Brendan
game,
Johnson,
this is the
for
biggest
me,
game in
showed something
recent
for
history.
me. Brendan Johnson showed something. Like Timo Werner was a great finish. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't. For me, there's more Timo Werner niche. I agree on that sense, but for me, I think I'm slowly seeing progression in Brendan Johnson as an impact player. But I thought for how pressurized the game was on the weekend, maybe there is something there where he can come off the bench. Right? Yeah, I know we only done it against Palace last week. I get all that, but maybe there is something in Johnson that we're starting to see that actually over a period of time we can, because it was a massive game for us. No matter how we want to pull it, it wasn't a small game. I get you're talking about Arsenal, the Man Cities, and all them, right? I completely get that, but at the same time, with Johnson, I have time for. Werner, I'm in your camp. That's how I am with it, right? 50-50. But it's just a case of. If Johnson starts to prove this over the next couple of weeks, you know.
Well, I would add, not the next couple of weeks, this 30 run we've got coming up. This right. If he steps up for quite a bit of that run, then I'm gonna have to shift over and, like I said, and swallow my pride and all of that.
Yeah, of course.
Because with players like Son, what separates Son from most players in that front three, he's consistent in these games. Like, he consistently gets an assist or scores a goal. He shows up in North London derbies against Man City, against Newcastle's. He shows up. Champions League, he always showed up. Harry Kane got injured.
Not in the final.
Yeah, we know the club never shows up in the final. But if he does it consistently, then Marlon, I agree with you. Yeah. But he has to. But from now to the end of the season, we're going to see what's what. We'll see how what happens.
Tyler, I quickly want to pull you in on it because you haven't spoke for a while. I just wanted to get your opinion on it. But where are you on the whole Timo Werner, Brendan Johnson situation and the whole front three again? I know we're bringing it back up, but just wanted to get your side of things.
No, I mean, I think Stell's making some good points. I think we definitely need to upgrade these wingers. I don't think we have enough quality right now to be challenging for the league, or, like you said, maybe we could get like a Carabao Cup. But I want to be challenging for more than that. Obviously, the Carabao Cup would be amazing right now. I would do anything just to see us win a trophy right now. But I think we definitely need to upgrade and get higher quality players in. Look, Johnson's playing a little bit better right now, but I just can't see him all of a sudden being that high quality player. I just don't see enough quality in him already. And he's already, 23, 24? I just can't see him developing much more into that, being that player. Because look, Son can have bad games, like I said earlier, but he's just such a high quality player, and his clinicalness, like he can win us a game. Can Johnson take the ball, dribble past a bunch of people, and score an amazing finish? I don't know. I think we definitely need to upgrade if we want to be challenging for more.
So, great performance at the weekend. Fulham on Saturday. Saturday evening. Ash,
Yeah.
are we going to be able to keep it up? And I'm going to throw something in perspective here. By the time Arsenal next play as well, right? I'm going to throw it out there. We could be 5 points behind them.
Yeah, it's true. I looked at the reverse fixture. Well, the game we played at home, and I said it before. That's when I saw the Son Maddison link up. I know Richarlison was on the left, and he was hardworking. Blah blah blah. We know all of that. But in terms of the link up between Sonny and Maddison, Sonny, I said it before. He scored on the edge of the box. He was slightly inside, but the quality was there. And then he found Maddison in the second half, and he scored. It should have been more. Kulu had a chance as well. We had a well-worked goal, and Kulu should have put the ball in the back of the net, so it should have been 3 or 4-0 on the day. I feel like Polinia is one of their biggest threats, if in my opinion, in terms of like controlling the game, his physicality, his box-to-box presence. Even when we played them, there was a few set pieces, a few corners, and he was like powering, winning headers. And so I'll go back to my point with Dragusin. I want to see Dragusin turn up and win those headers and those aerial threats. I want them to be eliminated by him. And Romero hasn't been bad in the air, to be fair to him. He's been quite good. So between the two of them, I want him to deal with them. I was concerned when I saw the baby boy oiling up those arms, man, like Adama, man, like Adama.
James Flowers already put it in there for you. There he is.
So yeah, I saw that goal against United, and he cooked Maguire. Maguire got spun like Michael Jackson. So, like, yeah, I've seen him do it to us before as well. Obviously in the Wolves shirt, but now he's for Fulham. They've also,
but Ash, let's get real, mate. I think any of us on the panel could spin slab edge. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's not like you're going up against Prime Baresi, is it? Do you know what I mean? Slab edge. To be fair, look, you've got to give kudos to Harry Maguire, how he can even walk when his head is that heavy. Do you know what I mean? He's doing up Easter Island. Him. I think they're going to find out in years to come, maybe in 100 years' time, that him and Eric Dyer are actually
brothers,
like one of the Easter Island statues brought to life. Do you know what I mean? Massive heads made of stone. Do you know what I mean? It's incredible. But big up Adama.
I think Iwobi on his day, I'm not scared of him, but he does contribute to Fulham. I'm trying to find things where I'm looking for Fulham. Iwobi's been performing for them. Yeah. Harry Wilson, young English lad. I think he's been decent for them. He scored a couple goals outside the box. He's quite impressive. But
that striker Rodrigo Muniz or whatever, he's been playing a lot better than in the path that they've had.
Vinny, big Vinny.
Raul Jimenez.
Or is he gone now? Has he gone?
I don't rate Vinny. I really don't rate Vinicius. I really don't rate him. I saw him against us. He was poor. Yeah. But like they're slightly on form. But
Anthony Robinson.
They're not gonna shut it down though at the back though, are they, Ash?
They're not. This is the thing. They're gonna play into our hands again. So I'm looking at this game where we should have more than enough to kind of assert ourselves. We're gonna dominate a lot of the ball, I feel. He tries to do that kind of mid-block press, so he'll allow our centre backs to have the ball at times. And I said it before with the Dragusin thing, I wouldn't mind him going direct or Romero going direct, switching the ball, switch play, open up the pitch, do something a bit different, and just cause them a few headaches.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, and I want to see like other people said in the comments, Maddison not as deep. I want him to be doing the false nine at times. You know what I'm saying, and Son dropping in behind, and them two feeding each other that way. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, and I think Spurs will get the job done.
Do you think they'll highlight Calvin Bassey again? Because it was obviously his two mistakes.
Yes, it was Bassey. Yeah, Bassey was a massive flaw in their game.
We destroyed him.
The dreadlock Rasta, but no, you know what? Yeah, what can they do? They play with a back four as well.
Yeah,
they play with a back five. Yeah,
they didn't have to play him on the right though that game. To be fair to him,
yeah, they did. Now we exploited that. We looked at that as a problem, and
thing is, it's on us, isn't it, guys? We're talking about Fulham now, but it is on us.
Yeah.
We if we want to progress and be taken seriously, we did well. It was a great performance. And look, no one's saying any, like you said, Mon, no one's saying top four's what we want at all. But if we want to show progress, that was a hard game. You know, by definition, Villa are the fourth best team in the league at the moment in the country. And we went up to their place where they haven't lost to any of the big teams this season, haven't conceded many against Emery at all. And, you know, we slapped them around like, you know, they're the ugly stepkids, you know what I mean? Just slapping all sorts of things around. Obviously, I don't condone that sort of violence against kids, whether they're stepkids or not. But it happened, do you know what I mean? And Emery, it did. I don't know whether it was the weather or just how frazzled he was, but I started to see Emery's hair gel wearing out. Did anyone else catch that? By the second half, it was looking peak for him. Do you know what I mean? The old Count from Sesame Street was looking a bit, you know, he was looking dishevelled. He was looking more like Oscar the Grouch.
He was panic mode.
Listen, he was freaking out. He was freaking out. He was like a YouTuber who signs up to fight Mike Tyson. Do you know what I mean? It seemed like a good idea at the time. Oh shit, what have I done? Trying to get out of the ring, toot sweet. But yeah, look, we'll see. But we've got to show up. We've got to do the business, guys. We've got to back it up, and hopefully then go into the international break with as many points in the bag as we can, and then just see what happens. But look, listen. I think as much as the Gooners are probably, you know, all crowing tonight again, you know, louder than a pair of trainers in a tumble dryer, you know, they know there's going to be a warm, white hot welcome when they come to N17. When they get the Woolwich ferry across to North London and come up to see us,
ferry.
like it's on. So let's turn back the clock to 2022. Still,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's that Craven footage. I'm not gonna lie, still. So we need to get that vengeance back.
Exactly.
Last time we drew 1-1, got knocked out the cup.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's why I didn't agree with Stowe when he goes, "We're good. They're good enough to win the Carabao Cup." No, they're not. They're not even good this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how much. Listen, Stell's trying to cover himself just in case Jono comes good.
Only Tottenham starts Davinson Sanchez, gives him the crucial penalty. I can't write this. You can only Tottenham do this.
Yeah, but Stel, you're looking at it that way round. Maybe it was just Andrew was so vexed with how he handled the penalty. He was like, "Get the fuck out of my club." But boss, you need my pace because the rest of this lot so fuck off. You better get out of there.
Listen, I think Fulham's going to be. It's so weird, right? I think it's going to be a tight game where we win it like 2-1. But then if we go to Fulham and, you know, Tonkin 5-0, would you be surprised after Villa? I think we're really underestimating how big of a win that was at Villa. Because every Spurs fan I spoke to, we're going to just win it by 1 goal, or we're going to draw, or 3-2.
Do you remember my prediction still? I said would go 2-0 up, but lose it 3-2. That is where I thought it was. And you both said to me, we're not going to go 2-0 up with the Spurs. And it was like, no, but you then said, we're not going to, if we're going to concede, we're going to concede early. And I always had us scoring 2. It was only Emery's tactics that threw me off, because as soon as I saw that, I probably was going to go for a 2-0 in the end.
Yeah, but you know what, Marlon? Like, the way we pressed in that game, I haven't seen that since the start of the season. And I just thought, why are we pressing like this now? Like, I love it. I loved it. I love the fact that Brennan Johnson actually played like a man, not a kid. He actually got, even when Udogie got taken out, the first player to go over and kick off was Brennan Johnson. Yeah. Like, he was proper.
Well, technically, the first player to get in the mix was Destiny himself. I've never seen anything like that. I always like to look at people
squared up and buckled because he felt the pain.
Yeah, and the Oscar goes too. But I loved it. He got absolutely smashed, and even in slow mo, the smash comes. Cheeseburger head is like his momentum spinning himself round, but Dogie's sort of span round, got back up, and he's looking to smash people, and then like his legs are buckled.
Mate, I love that. I love the fact that they were together like that. Even the second goal, though, we won it.
Did you notice everyone got in? Everyone went in to the melee, But it was Cootie was going over trying to calm everyone down. Did you notice that? Or was
Yeah,
it
until
just
someone had to
pretending to
go.
do that? Or was he just
Until
going to get a
someone.
ball slapping or something?
Now, someone pulled him back at one point. He looked like he was calm, but then he was waiting to pop.
Yeah, Longley. I think it was Longley that stopped him from popping off. I think because Longley had to hold it. Like, I think he realized he was talking to Longley and he held him back for something. I can't remember. I think it was a guy trying to get McGinn or something. I can't remember what he was doing. But yeah, Longley had to hold him back. It wasn't even one of our players.
Exactly.
Real quick, guys.
Imagine.
Yeah, go on, Tyler.
I sorry to interrupt, but I do have to
go
get out of here before the gym closes. It's getting a little bit late.
No worries.
But thank you so much for having
No,
me on.
thank you
It
for
was a
coming
pleasure.
on.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you. No, thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Nice to meet you,
Really
Simon. Take
appreciate
care.
it. And good speaking to you guys.
Take care, man.
Big up.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, the
Come on, you
Spurs.
Spurs. But still,
Yeah,
carry
no, I
on because I interrupted you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But like, I like the fact we were like together in the fight. Even at the end, Bentancur put one on Matt Cash. I love that as well. You know, put it on him. But even when we scored the second goal, it's not just that we pressed high and we intercepted a bad pass. As soon as Kuda got it, there were 3 players in front of him ready to receive to like go to goal. Like the fact we were that high up, ready to not just win the ball but transition. Like I haven't seen that since the start of the season, and I'm hoping this is the start of a run that was like the start of the season, and that wasn't just a one-off. Because you know, with Spurs, we'll go to Fulham and it doesn't quite look the same.
Wait,
You're like, oh, what was that?
I've got to give a shout out to Adrian. Look at Adrian's comment about Longley's pace. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
He's slower than you think.
Exactly. He's like continental drift. Do you know how like South America like split off from Africa? That's how quick Longley gets back. It's amazing. Well, listen, one thing I wanted to say, the thing that I find frustrating watching Spurs is just almost everything. No, we like the one-touch passing out the back, one-touch, two-touch is amazing, and we seem to know exactly what the patterns are straight away. So it's obviously, you know, they've been drilled, but we hardly ever play one or two touch when we're going forward. I mean, even first half, the amount of times that Johnson had the ball and he sort of a couple of times cut in, and players were making the opposite run diagonal into the channel, and people were just a bit slow to release a pass. And as we said earlier, you know, the amount of times Sonny or even sometimes Kulu or Johnson were making runs in behind, or Sarr as well, right, Ash? And he just one little lofted ball over the top. And I think it's a bit like the NFL, right? Sometimes if you're a passing team, you've got to show the other team the run, or vice versa. If you're a running team, you've got to show the pass, because otherwise, if they know what you're doing the whole time, they'll just set up to defend that, and you know that'll be it.
That's
you've got to give them another ball sometimes, just to.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see the Celso. I wanted to see the Celso because in the first game, that's what he was doing. He was getting the ball from deep, and he wasn't just spraying it across the floor. He was actually doing balls like over the top, and I was like, wow. And Bentancur was doing it as well. Obviously, he didn't come and do it this game, but I was like, between the two of them, they were both dropping into the 6th position, and they were doing balls over the top. But as I said before, Basuma completed. Well, he did 4 long passes and completed 3 of them. So I'm starting to see that from Basuma. I'm hoping that he starts to do that kind of switch of play, the balls over the top a little bit more, and he starts to add that bow to his game. Do you know what I mean? Because those passes are always on. Those guys are always doing those runs. So,
you know, rewind it. You know, how many times did Toby pick out, you know, Delhi back in the day? You know,
in the game I remember, man, Chelsea, so many games that over the top.
Well, the Chelsea one was dire, wasn't it? The Chelsea one was dire.
Oh yeah, it was.
And the one touch, second touch is in, and then or he was shushing the crowd. And do you remember? Like there was a sort of middle class looking woman just giving it that one to him, like this.
Thing is, this is my problem with Spurs. The amount of times we don't play that through ball when it's on is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The amount of times players have made the runs, they don't play it. It's scandalous. And do you know what I think? I don't think we've replaced Ericsson. I don't.
No,
Maddison is. Ericsson used to almost drop back as a quarterback and ping it. He used to ping it. That's not Maddison. Maddison's higher up. He dribbles. If we had a Maddison and an Eriksen side by side, we'd be dynamite.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we had those, we don't have. There's not enough versatility in the number 10 role. I
just think, though, still, we were talking earlier.
Or a number 8 that played like Eriksen. Eriksen would be brilliant.
I just think maybe Madders and Son had built up such a good relationship and they were finding each other really well in the first 10 games of the season, but they're not quite back on the same wavelength yet. And I think now that Sonny's back and he's looking sharp, hopefully that goal will give him a bit of confidence, and we'll see.
But Phil, I don't think Maddison has got the range of passing that Eriksen had. Eriksen couldn't dribble the way Maddison does, but Maddison hasn't got the range of passing Eriksen had. Do you know who has got it, but he's just not at it at the moment? Is Bentancur. I think Bentancur could do it.
Yeah, I think Lassoso could do it as well. Bentancur and Lassoso could do it.
Yeah, but he's made of glass, isn't he? He's like like a broken bottle.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Yeah, I agree.
You've got more chance of seeing Stell and Levy out for dinner in Palmer's Green than you are of seeing the Celso in a Spurs midfield anytime soon, I reckon.
Wait, what was that question before, Marlon? You said about
who this one? Yeah. So the last question of the night, and I think Phil's kind of already answered what he thinks, but you two, Ashmatic and Stell, the way Arsenal playing, and if we, like Stell said, if we can keep up what we did against Villa and keep it up from now until we play Manchester City, Arsenal, and Liverpool in a row, can we turn Arsenal over when they come to the lane?
I'll be honest. I just worry about they're finding different ways to win, which is annoying. Like before, it was just basic. It was just like they play it on the floor, and they've got one type of tactic, if that makes sense. Now I've seen Arteta switch it up. I've seen him kind of like look at Brighton's tactics, tweak it. He's kind of got two 8s or 10s. They kind of Havertz and Odegaard, they kind of drop into the hole. I've seen Odegaard doing what Maddison does. I'm like, bro, why are you copying our tactics, bro? That's what Maddison does. He drops in, like, allow it, man. Then I've seen the set piece coach, thumbs up. I see him like they're doing bits, Rice on the corners, and I'm like, bro, they never used to be so good at set pieces. So actually, they're finding different ways to kind of break teams down. And it's not just like one Arsenal that you're dealing with. Like Arteta's tweaking it every game, and he's finding a way to kind of win, essentially. So it's kind of getting on my nerves. I'm not going to lie to you. So I'm slightly...
It is upsetting.
But this goes back to the question then that we had earlier. Because it's going to be Ange versus, obviously, Arteta. And you're sitting there saying Arteta's going to tweak it. So is Big Ange ready for this test?
Listen, man, right? Now listen to Ashmatic, right? 99% of the time, listen to him, right? On this occasion, listen to me. We went to the Emirates. Sorry, Ash.
It's cool.
Sorry. We went to the Emirates.
Just come into the man's own channel and start slapping him about. Do you know what I mean? It's called Spurs Kings still. Do you know what I mean?
No, Phil Pete. Ash deserves it. He's been living on this high for the last week. He deserves to be brought down a notch.
Listen, Ashmatic is about to get smashed tatic. Right? We went to the Emirates, and all I heard a week before the game, this is the Emirates. You haven't got Harry Kane. He's only been your manager for 2 minutes. You're going to learn. Just you wait and see. We finished second last year. We went there and taught them to never, ever, ever get on their high horses with us. After we told them, you're getting carried away. You haven't watched us in pre-season. You're not looking at the football we're playing. You are underestimating us. Don't do that.
Yeah,
I warned them.
Starting 11. But,
Marlon, I was telling all of them, and everyone's like, "Still, relax. I said, no. We're not losing this game, and I knew it. This time round, they're coming to White Hart Lane, needing those points more than what we're going to need them. They're going for the title. We're going for top 4. We've secured Europe, right? Worst case, we're Europa Cup. Hoo-hoo, ha-ha, whatever. They need it more than us. We know, and Ange will know, he has got to stop them. We cannot let them take 3 points from us. We will be ready. Fans will be ready. The players will be ready. I'm not saying we'll beat them. I reckon it's going to be a draw. But they are not coming to White Hart Lane and winning another fucking league title on our turf. I'm telling you, mark my words. And this time, Son will be. Son's back now. He always turns up in this game. Let them bring it. Let them bring their hype. Let them build it up and do all their pre-match clickbait bollocks. When they walk in through that tunnel and they hear us, we will be ready. And the atmosphere will be electric. It'll be like the season when Conte beat them 3-0. We won't beat them 3-0, but it'll be that atmosphere because we've got something on the line. We have to stop them. We must stop Arsenal, man. We have to. And
so
we will.
Do you think though, because obviously we do have Manchester City the week before, and is there a chance that we
lose the game? Give them the points.
Is there a chance that we could sap up all our energy because the week before? Because obviously what City done to us in the cup and how poor we were in that cup game, right? We were ridiculously poor. It's not even about losing to City. The fact we didn't even have a shot was the worst part of that situation.
What about Arsenal's energy? What about their energy? They've got games thick and fast. Let's do it.
No. Yeah, but we're going to be playing. Let's be honest. We're going to be playing the 3 best teams in the country, back to back to back. And let's be like, I know we've got a lot of energy and stuff like that. But actually, the Liverpool game is probably the least of my worries because we're probably not expected to go there to win.
No, we're not winning that. Yeah.
But to have Manchester City a week before Arsenal is probably the worst fixture I could have probably wanted a week before we play the Gooners.
Yeah, but sometimes these games you build momentum.
Of course.
Imagine if we beat Man City, we go into the Arsenal game buzzing, like ready to slap another team up. Listen, don't doubt Arsenal, as much as their fans will say otherwise, they do not want this game. They do not want to come end of the season to White Hart Lane.
And just quickly, there's a chance that either us or Arsenal will have to play Chelsea in between that fixture. There is a chance because of the way the fixtures are panning out, especially with now.
When will the Champions League fixtures be as well?
This is the question. Yeah, this is now the thing. I think the Arsenal Chelsea game might be squeezed in because they've gone through tonight. So we might not. Actually, you might be right. Arsenal might be playing Chelsea, or we might be playing Chelsea.
Listen, Arsenal they've got another 10 games of the season, and another 2 Champions League games. They've got 12 more games to go.
Yeah.
Depending on who they draw, they might get into the semis of the Champions League. Then that's 14 games. Suddenly, you're asking a lot more from their players. We don't have that kind of demand on us. There's a lot of pressure building up at Arsenal. They could be one of the best Arsenal teams ever at the end of the season, or the biggest bottle jobs in the history of football after last season. There's a lot of pressure. There's no pressure on us. Where's the pressure? This season's a free hit. We're not expected to get top 4. Spurs go into the game not under pressure. So I honestly think, I really do think we're going to give them a game and a half, man. We are going to have plenty of the ball. We will cause them problems, but they're going to cause us problems as well, especially with the set pieces. They're so good at them. But look, North London Derby, it's anyone's game. How many times have we got into games, North London Derby, thinking, oh shit, and we kind of grab a little something out of it? Or they go into the game worrying that Spurs are better, then they grab a draw. Like, it's anyone's game. They're not going to come and just take 3 points like that. I hear you, Ash. I hear the worry. But listen,
my only worry is
we're going to be ready. We're going to be ready for this one. I know we are.
My only worry is last season because they were obviously trending that way, and
so Phil, we're trending.
Yeah, of course,
we're trending.
But my point is, if you look at how the results have gone in this fixture, it almost doesn't matter how the other team are playing. It tends to go with the home team. So that gives me a lot of confidence. They've only beaten us once in how many years at White Hart Lane?
And last year we were a mess. Come on, last year we knew we were losing.
Yeah.
This time, Pasuma's back, Maddison's back, Pape Sarr's available. Benton will be almost, he'll be cooking by then. We'll have our best back 4. And by the way, fact, the back 4 that we've got, when they start, we've never lost a game this season. Not one team in the Premier League has beaten us when that back 4 have started, except for the Chelsea game, but that's different because we capitulated, suspensions, sending offs, injuries. We fell apart.
When they finished the game still. We'll use that one.
Yeah, when they finished the game. Although Van der Ven went off against Villa, so yeah. But I know what you mean. But
to be fair,
if they start, no one could beat them. No one's beaten this season.
As soon as we lost to City, I just said, look, the only fixtures I really care about now is the game we're talking about now, West Ham away to a much lesser extent, and Chelsea away. Look, if we win those 3 fixtures, it'll be happy daisy.
It says here, Mickey Van der Ven's hamstring should not be a lengthy one. Probably missed Tottenham's game versus Fulham, and back after the international break is the hope. Paul O'Keefe, by the way.
Yeah, but that's hope. I know that was Paul O'Keefe, but that's more than hope.
Yeah, but okay, look.
As soon as he lets Ollie Watkins out of
Fulham
his...
and Luton, right?
Yeah.
So now, this is why we signed Dragusin, yeah? This is why we signed Dragusin. So it's not Ben Davies or Chicken Man or...
But still, in your experience, if you've got a player of Ollie Watkins' size and weight in your pocket, will that affect your hamstring?
Yeah.
How soon does he have to let him out of his pocket? Because it's getting a bit raw.
Yeah. So just to answer the question that came up earlier, the quarterfinals for the Champions League are going to be when they play Wolves and Villa between those weeks, right? So which means that the Chelsea fixture for them has to be fitted in somewhere. And I remember when the Chelsea fixture got postponed, they said it's more likely that it's going to be 3 days before that North London derby in that week, because that's the only 3 week Arsenal have got.
So they've got Wolves, Champions League, and Villa.
They've got so they'll have Brighton, Champions League, then Villa, miss a week, then Champions League, then Wolves. So they've got,
and maybe Chelsea, then
it could be between the Wolves and us. They will probably have to sandwich in the Chelsea game between them, because Chelsea have to play us at some point as well.
I hate the fact we're looking at Arsenal's fixtures, man. That's not good. That means we're worried about what they might not do.
Yeah, still, you might have missed this earlier, because I know a lot of people are going to be worried, and I knew I was going to be on tonight. So I spoke to my dad on the way home, and he said, there's no need to worry. They're not winning it. It'll either be, his feeling is probably Man City, but he said maybe Liverpool, but they're not. They are not going to win it.
I think if Spurs turn up against, look, let's be honest, if Spurs turn up against Fulham and do exactly what you said, Stel, and exactly do, as they played against Villa, I think all of us will then look at this fixture and go, you know what? Because I think we're still burnt by the Wolves game. That's still going to be in a lot of our memories, right? That could happen again. And I think that's the bit where we're at. And because obviously we've seen Arsenal turn over all these teams in the Premier League, forget the champion, because they played poor tonight as well, and they played poor in Porto. But they've managed to get through, as Ash said, and I think that's the biggest issue right now. They're winning games. Yeah. And when we drew 2-2 with them, all of us, I remember all Spurs fans saying, you're not playing as well as you were last year. You're not going to be able to play, beat this Spurs team, right? And that was the thing that came up. But now they're going to be in a situation where I think we got burnt last year, where they were playing well enough, and we completely thought, no, this is Conte, this is going to work, and we completely got rolled over.
Well, listen, just for Henry 14, the GOAT, 2 things. Henry's a handballing cheat, yeah, Ireland remembers. Never scored in a final as far as I can remember. Remember Paris, yeah, his home turf? I remember Barcelona walking away. And then they actually went to Barcelona. So, how you left. But also, my dad doesn't give 2 shits about my feelings, in all honesty. But he really doesn't like you lot. And actually, Stel knows this. My dad brought me up really well. I was at least 10 years old before I realised there was a team called Arsenal, right? And I went to school in Tottenham. I was playing football with my mate in Bruce Castle Park. I think we've been swimming up in Edmonton Green as well, riding our BMXs round. And I went to his house in Bruce Grove, and I said, "Oh, what team do you support, Gavin?" And he goes, "Arsenal." And I literally didn't know what he said. I was like, "What is that? Who are they?" And he basically told me, and he showed me a kit. I'd never seen it before. I was 10 years old. This is the 1980s, yeah. That's called a proper education, a proper upbringing.
All I'm going to say, Stel, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. And to be honest, I usually, when you say things like this, you have been spot on this season, and I've been like, you know what, I should listen to that man a lot more.
Man United couldn't beat us this year. Arsenal haven't beaten us. Man City in the league haven't beaten us. Liverpool in the league haven't beaten us. Whether there's been a bit of luck involved or not, no top side other than the Chelsea game have beaten us this season. Newcastle,
but Chelsea aren't a top side still.
They're not. You're right. Traditionally, right. Newcastle, we pumped them. Aston Villa, we've just pumped them. I think Ange rises to these big games. I think where he gets it wrong is these mid-table games where they low block us and they come in with a bit of a.
Apart from Brighton.
So Brighton, we got that one wrong as well. We got battered at Brighton, didn't we?
Yeah. But
That's
no,
crazy.
I do agree. I think you are right in the sense of when we do play against these bigger teams, I think you're right. It does
Marlon,
rise
they're
to the
coming
occasion.
to Tottenham. They're coming
know.
to N17.
I know.
This isn't Finsbury Park, South London. This is Tottenham, real North London. They're coming to the manor.
It's going to be electric, and especially
They've got to
because
walk up the high street. That coach has to come up the high street. They're going to feel it. They're going to see it. They'll know.
I think once we
know they're
look,
walking into
it's North London derbies for me. I get even when we won 3-0 at the first one, I was still nervous. There was always that doubt in my head, but actually at the time it was like we were better than them. So I'm always going to be the same up until we play them.
Yeah, but you know the drill. If we win, Ange is the GOAT. If we lose, leave you out.
So true. Oh, that's so funny. Ash, any last words before I wrap this stream up?
Oh,
Stell's playing in the pivot. Stell's playing in the pivot.
no, literally, it's been a pleasure to have you guys on. Great stream as always. Yeah, man. Just you know what? I think we'll do Fulham. I'm confident. I'm feeling confident. I know low blocks. They're not going to hit us with a low block. It will be tighter, as Stell said, than most people think. But then I think we've got enough quality over them to get the job done, and it's all about carrying that momentum into the next game. So it's a shame that we've got international break in between, because I would have preferred us to carry the wave over, and hopefully we don't get any more knocks during the international week, and all these players come back fit. And that's it, really.
Phil, any last words?
Yeah, look, thanks for having me on, guys. It's been amazing. Be on with the Kings. It's long overdue. Ash has been trying to get me on a loan move for a while, stopgap. But yeah, been really good. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's a real pleasure and fantastic work on the channel. One of the best out there, and yeah, really love your work, guys. So real pleasure to be on with you.
Pay later,
especially after a win.
Yeah.
Bro.
Thanks to Tyler and Jacob for joining us earlier, and always thank you to Stell for joining us from Tottenham away. Stell, please tell us what's coming up on Tottenham away this week.
Oh,
if you
no,
know.
man, I'm just gonna listen. I'm just gonna big up your channel. I've said to everyone, like, this channel needs to be much bigger than what it is. It's just ridiculous. Like, so I did a little promo just now saying I'm coming on this channel. I hope people come over. If you have, please smash the like, subscribe. We need to get these guys up to a bigger channel, man. It's ridiculous how Marlon and Ash are, we've just got to help them grow as quickly as we can. That's all, man. Big up to you guys.
The analysis is unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. It's
and if anyone's free this Saturday, I'm probably going to meet up with Phil and ride our BMXs around Edmonton Green.
Get your rally burns out. Listen, listen. In the 80s, you had to have a big set of Dragusin style rock hard nuts to ride a BMX from Bruce Grove to Edmonton Green and back. Yeah, but I used to do that when I was only young. I swear to God, I'm not sure I'd drive through Edmonton now. Do you know what I mean? No disrespect to all the men and women in Edmonton, but big it up every time. Croydon Road, massive, yeah. Back in the day, you know.
Yeah.
Ash, do you want to end the show, because you've been doing it for the last couple of weeks? So if you want to do the like, subscribe, comment, TV.
Said it, man. On the road to, as Danny K said, on the road to 5K. Yeah. Please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you put the notification bell on. Also, people in the comments, big yourselves up. Without you, we wouldn't have such an epic show. So big yourselves up. Big up your chest each and every time. Make sure you share with the family members. Share with the girl them, with the man them, with the bros them. Every family member that's involved, just make sure you just get it out there. And also, if you're listening at home, I'm a silent watcher. I watch all you man shows. Like I'm like a I'm like a stalker in the background in the bushes. I'm
voyeuristic. That's voyeuristic, Ash. You know what I mean? You like to watch.
I ain't heard that word in ages, but yeah.
Hey, yo!
Look, Marlon trying to throw us off the scent there. I haven't heard that word in ages.
like a movie for me. Sometimes I want to have some popcorn and sit down and watch the show, you know.
Exactly.
I'm not always in the comments, so but I do support, I do watch, and I do like at the end of each show. So guys, it's a free hit, so just give us a like if you can and hit that notification bell. But yeah, as always, come on, you Spurs. Big
And
up to people them.
I know, as I always say, in Big Ange I trust, and come on, you Spurs.
Love.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.